everybody, welcome back to Terps Esports, live from College Park. My name is Lily.
And my name is Hayden. It is a great night for our very first BEC Valorant premiere match here in the studio.
That's right, Hayden. In our pre-show, we'll get you ready for the game as well as provide a breakdown of player statistics.
For this match, the Terps will be facing off in a best-of-3 against Rutgers in a regular season match.
So now that you know who we're facing, it's time for us to introduce you to the members of the team. We're also going to take a look at each player's stats from the season so far, such as their KD ratio and average combat score, or ACS for short.
Okay, Lily, let's get started. First up is the team's duelist, Yex. Yex has an ACS of 270, the highest amongst his team, an ADR of 177, and a KD of 1.5. These are some outstanding stats, especially for the team's lead duelist.
And next up is Eugene. He's the team's controller, and he has some impressive stats as well, with an ACS of 159, an ADR of 108, and a KD of 0.8. While Eugene is a controller, don't count him out when it comes to getting kills, and he's also great with using his utility, especially in post-plant scenarios.
Next up, we've got Spartacus. Spartacus is the team's initiator, and he's got an ACS of 226, an ADR of 160, and a KD of 1.3. Spartacus is the team's in-game leader, which means that he's in charge of calling plays, analyzing rounds, and keeping the team morale positive. His team relies on his quick thinking and positive charisma to dominate rounds.
And moving on to the team's sentinel, Flaps. He's got an ACS of 245, an ADR of 168, and a KD of 1.6, which is really outstanding for a sentinel. Flaps comes in huge with impact kills and clutches round after round.
Now, our final player is Jinho. He's the team's flex player, and he's got an ACS of 186, an ADR of 123, and a KD of 1.0. He's particularly good with using his flashes in order to make fights more favorable for his teammates.
And just to point out, the Terps are currently 1-2 in the BEC, and Rutgers is 2-1. So a win here would be huge for the Terps. And we'll catch you guys back for the action right after a quick commercial break. everybody, welcome back. We are just about to head into map number 1, and we are headed to Bind.
Yeah, I'm really excited because, I mean, with Bind, there's so many things you could do in terms of agent composition.
I'm really surprised that UMD did not opt for Ascent. This is actually our map pick, and maybe, hey, they have something cooking up on Bind that I don't know about.
I mean, you know, a couple weeks ago, they were cooking something, they were definitely cooking something up with the Clove Yoru and Chamber on Bind, but I heard NJV, the coach, saying they've got something cooking.
Yeah,
so
this team has been pulling. Yeah, they've been pulling out some kind of crazy comps recently. Last time we were in the studio with them, they definitely, had a bit of an interesting comp. Yesterday, if you guys were watching on the NECC broadcast, the Terps were actually featured on there in their match, and they had some crazy comps for game number 2. We had a Vice. Spartacus was on Vice.
Man,
we had a Yoru.
Sad I missed that game.
Yeah, Yex was on that Yoru, and we just, had some crazy comps. So I wonder if we're going to, throw anything like that out the gate, or if we're going to play it more safe for map number 1 before we, do something a little bit more unexpected for map 2.
Yeah, I kind of wonder how viable Vice is on Bind, because especially like on defense for just defending Hookah and stuff, her wall is really good just for isolating a lot of, or just stopping a lot of attackers from pushing out.
Yeah, and for retakes, her ultimate's huge. If you guys don't know, her ultimate actually disengages everyone's primary weapon, meaning if you have a Vandal, only have a Classic, or whatever your secondary is at the time. Just because Vice isn't super commonly picked, certainly not in the collegiate scene, but also I don't expect in the pro scene, because they just don't seem to, Vice doesn't seem to be a super, commonly picked agent just meta-wise right now.
Yeah, I mean, Vice does have a lot of cohesiveness with a lot of other agents. Like, for example, KJ. Granted, that is a double sentinel, but just the swarm grenades and her thorn, I forgot what that ability is called, but the one where she puts thorns on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, that's already really good because you're slowing down enemies, you're dealing damage to them too, and then on top of that, KJ's swarm nade is wiping away their health.
Yeah, speaking of KJ, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a KJ on Bind, because this is a pretty decent KJ map. I think our initiator pick is going to be probably Fade on this map.
Fade or Sky, I could see either one.
Yeah.
Probably Fade, yeah.
In terms of smokes, probably an Omen, I think, is the safe pick on this map.
Yeah, any kind of dome smoke works pretty well on Bind. Even if you want, you can pair it with a Viper.
Yeah.
And then doing a double controller is pretty fun to watch, especially on Bind, because there's just so many really weird walls you could do with Viper. I know in the pro scene, a lot of players have been able to make some really cheeky walls and sneak the entire team up. I think there's one that goes straight to U-Haul. Mm-hmm. Take control of U-Haul and you're good.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to be in the studio doing a BEC stream. This is the first time we've actually been able to stream Valorant BEC, because it tends to be on Tuesdays, which is typically Terps Esports League days. But here we are in the studio today with BEC, and it's exciting because these are schools that, we know super well because we're also in the Big Ten. So just there's a lot of we're not big into football around here, but there's a big football rivalry between Rutgers and Maryland, just a lot more history between the schools. So these games are always just a little bit more just near and dear to my heart a little bit, just because I know these schools a little bit more. So I'm really excited to be heading into this game, and just especially with Rutgers, because we did play them at our Big Ten LAN last year at Ohio State, and that was super fun. Again, a lot of these teams have met each other at this point now, and they're super familiar with, the other members of the team. I remember a lot of their names even. So hopefully the Terps are going to be able to win this one to make their record a little bit better in the BEC. Like we said, right now they're 1-2.
Yeah, definitely having a 2-2 record would be pretty good going just into the future games. I think what else is on the BEC schedule? Their
schedule?
Yeah.
Oh, in terms of who we're playing next?
Yeah, because I think there's one game that we played Penn State, no?
Oh yeah, that'll be a big game. I don't believe we've played Penn State yet, so that'll be a big game once we actually do play them. It's coming up in November, so hopefully we're going to be able to broadcast that game from the studio.
Yeah, that would be a pretty good game to broadcast, especially since like you said, we really haven't played Penn State, so it's going to be kind of a new face around around the studio. But even just a big matchup like that, I mean, like even in other sports, Penn State is considered Maryland's rival because they're frankly pretty close and within the Big Ten. Maybe not for football, but for other sports likewise.
Yeah, we may not be the strongest football team around here in College Park, but hey.
We do have a pretty good soccer team.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, we're ranked second right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, none of that matters once you walk into the studio because we are all about esports here.
We are. And speaking of esports, we are just now getting into the game, and we see a Yoru from Yex. Maybe this is what NJV was telling me about cooking something up, because Flaps is also hovering over Astra.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be really dangerous since the Astra buff, now she has 5 stars.
I would love to see Flaps just try Astro. This is going to be crazy. Like we were saying, Yex has been going off on Yoru. Like I said, if you guys watched yesterday's NECC stream, he did so well on that Yoru pick. And it's just so unexpected from the other team always. So super, super excited to see what he's able to do there. And Flaps does lock in the Astra. This is going to be an interesting comp. Double Initiator. We don't have a Sentinel, so...
Yeah, that's a little worried about that. But given the fact that you have a Sky and Fade, you could just play Retake whenever you want, because you have Fade Dogs, you have the Sky Dog for just regular information gathering. You also have Raze's Boombot, too. Like, that's going to be really helpful. But I think you could say that Bind might be more of a defensive-sided map.
Yeah, and we are going to be starting on attacking, but look at our comp. We have such a attack-favored composition without a Sentinel. We are going to have to work through the Cypher utility that's going to be in our way for the side of Rutgers. They also do have Brim Smokes, so that's also going to be something to consider for the Terps. But regardless, I think this is exactly where we want to be. We want to be starting on attack, definitely, with this kind of composition. Double Duelist, Double Initiator. We'll take attack all day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if you're trying to like really come in really aggressive at the start of the game and maybe kind of play with the mental of the other team too. Just be like, hey, we're really aggressive. You guys can't stop us, and just gain a lot of that momentum going into the second half.
So we're going to head into our pistol round. Going to be a really important round just to set the tempo for the Terps and how they want to just execute these attack rounds with this composition. Also going to be important for their economy. And it looks like they want to start things off by going A, and it's going to be met with a little bit of aggression in showers.
Blinded.
Yeah, and one thing to note about this comp is you could play a very, very good default, because you just have so many abilities that or you just have a lot in the first place. Like you have Fade's Eye, which does recharge. Sadly, Sky's flashes don't recharge anymore. But even just having 2 of those flashes plus the Yoru flashes, you can very well default wherever you want.
And the Terps have pulled off a fast rotate towards B using TP. They've caught Rutgers completely out of position with the exception of just 2 people left on site. But they're about to get overwhelmed with utility as Jinho has made way onto the site, done a lot of damage with his Ghost, takes down the Sky. So site should be in favor of the Terps now that Spartan has found 2 kills on site. All that's left is they have to deal with Spagooby up here in elbow, and it's no problem for the Terps. I actually remember Cypher from last year when we played Rutgers. I don't know if you remember their name or not.
I feel like I was looking at the name and I'm like, I feel like I remember Spagooby.
Yeah.
Like, it's an interesting name. I was like, you know what? Maybe I've seen that name before. But definitely good first round coming up from the Terps. I mean, like I was talking about that default, they put some util towards A and just completely switched gears and went B.
Yeah, there's so much utility, like you were saying, that they can just play around with. So Rutgers is really not going to know what site they're going to hit until they actually commit, because they could just, throw a Fade Eye across the map and completely throw off the defenders.
Blinded.
And they are looking at a pretty expensive round for their buy round. They've got 1 Vandal and 1 Phantom, and lots of shots coming out, and is a trade
Yeah, Eugene does get traded, and the Terps are looking like they want to do an A short execute. There's 2 defenders on site for Rutgers at the moment, but the Terps really haven't committed yet. Actually, looks like they're going to double back towards B, but super, super quietly. It's going to leave Rutgers wondering where they're heading, and they're just kind of sitting in this A link position, just waiting for someone to peek. But look at this flank that's cooking up on the other side.
They don't have a sentinel to get any information about this, so they got to be really aware or just react off of this.
And the trigger discipline, they spotted Jinho, and they get the shot off of Jinho, gonna push up further into the Terps. They find Flaps, but Yex finally responds. Spartacus also does the same, and now it's just those two who are on site left in a 2v2, make that a 1v2, where it's just Spartacus alive for the Terps. Now, he does have a Vandal in hand, but not too many bullets.
30 seconds left.
He also was able to pick up the spike, so just gonna pull a TP and head over to B site, plant the bomb, and just play an angle off a post plant. And it looks like Rutgers will start this off by both of them coming in from hookah. Spart finds the first, but cannot quite flick to the second in time. That was a good double swing there, just kind of making that unwinnable for Spart.
Yeah, he did get the first kill. It looked like he was going to get the second, but it was just not. The Vandal didn't really reset the bullet spread that well, but good try. Those are some really good shots from the Cypher there.
Yeah, not panicking once you get eyes on someone is something I struggle, and I think a lot of Valorant players struggle with, is right there, not panicking in that moment and just firing a shot. Having the discipline to light up your crosshair, then find that other kill on Flaps, huge stuff for that Cypher. Probably is what won them that round.
Yeah, and just the fact that UMD doesn't have a sentinel to understand when somebody is flanking, that's very big, and Rutgers might take advantage of this. They already have, but I wonder how much they're going to do that over the course of the game.
And a lot of utility presence already in A main, and Yex's TP close, gonna peek out into Lamps, but he gets killed actually. But Jinho is there to secure the trade. He's able to pick up a Vandal now. Terps have not made way onto the site, but Flaps just has a better angle coming out of Showers. Gonna lend the Terps space to plant, and now puts them in a numbers up situation for this retake. They gotta have eyes on Heaven here.
This is a very good response so far from the Terps after losing that first round, or the second round, sorry. But just being able to win this round puts Rutgers in a very big economic deficit. Because I think they bought up quite a lot. But Spagooty gets 1 kill. Now it's a 3v2.
Yeah,
they do have presence from Showers here, from Flaps.
Yeah, it looks like they're playing it pretty safe, just kind of waiting for a tap to peek before they really commit, and it's down to a 1v2. It's going to be hard with all the utility, which is just going to lead to a save. Oh, but Spart wants that kill. He pushed through and able to take down an extra gun for UMD.
Flaps did die to the spike there, but having that control over Showers was so important for just winning that round. Even the fact that it was a late lurk through Showers, I would have expected Rutgers to push through Showers, maybe to get another flank like they did in round 2. But like we see here, just Flaps having a late lurk through Showers netted himself 2 kills and just complete control of Showers. And that's exactly what you want for a post-plant scenario.
Terps are looking a little bit more spread out in the early round that they have in the past. I think, like you said, they're just going to throw out some utility, see what happens. But Eugene, great shot with a Guardian there, still holding that angle, and that pick might influence where UMD is going to push, as it looks like they're starting to group together, but they have got to watch out for a potential flank to cook up here. Looks like they're watching it from all sides.
He's definitely aware of the Cypher that pushed up. And Gek's able to take down the Brimstone. And Flaps does get that lurking Cypher.
Spike planted.
Push up. There is it. It's a 5v2. If Terps can save some guns this round, that would be huge.
It looks like they would be able to, and they only have to take down the Sky, who only has a Classic. So this should be another round for the Terps, but now the Sky has picked up a Vandal. But regardless, Terps are able to play numbers and take home a 3rd win. And this is a great start for attack so far.
Yeah, I mean, they did take that first initial loss, but they've already built up a lot of momentum going in. Like I said before, the whole objective of this comp is just to be really aggressive. And they start out a little passive towards the beginning of the round, but once they take site, it's like a full-on assault straight on the site, and they typically win it every time.
And that time they did switch up their game plan a little bit. They didn't go for the 5-man rush through a short. They actually kind of made presence all over the map. This time, though, it does look like they're placing most of their focus on B, and they're going to have to fight for hookah control because they do have defenders holding that pretty aggressively.
Face your fear!
Yak's going to use his Your ultimate to make way onto B side. Going to be followed in with Spart's Fade, all going to clear out a lot of players away from site. Trade does come through for both sides, and UMD just have not made any leeway onto that site. Going to have to rotate off of it and go A. This is already a really expensive round for UMD, so the fact that they have to rotate away from site, B site that they invested so many ultimates in is not great. But they're going to have to make their way through this Cypher utility and going to have to check their lamps here. They're so grouped together right now, shooting that Cypher utility. And Flaps finding that opening pick on the Cypher is going to be huge to disengage all those trips that are on site. Yex does get taken down, though. That is not a good look for the Terps, but Flaps responds with the trade. At a 2v1, but HP is looking really bad for the Terps. Spart's probably at a little less than half. Yeah, 40 HP. Bomb is planted, so he's able to play time here.
This might be a really good rotate. Because I think this guy's just completely aware that he was.
Yeah, I don't know if this guy's going to be looking showers at all. Maybe if enough time passes, they might start. But I do like this rotate, and Spart's just going to be really patient with it. Going to wait for another tap to come through, and time is just ticking down. That's exactly what you want if you're the Terps. He's going to swing out this time and find the kill, which is his third for the round, to give Terps another win.
Yeah, it was a very, very quick thinking play from Spart. It's just really kind of weird because if this guy decided to stick that, he would have lost the round, which is kind of ballsy to do. But I think even in a 1v1, Spartacus just trusted that he's going to clear everything because it is a 1v1. So big risk, but high reward.
Definitely, and especially a high reward in terms of just the amount of ultimates they invested into that round, but also the amount of ultimates they have ready after that round, 3 of them to be exact, and also a booming economy on their side. So things should be looking pretty good for the Terps because they're up against not a strong buy from Rutgers.
Yeah, this Raise Nade is doing so much damage, but
I've got your train.
Oh,
the ultimate comes out.
Oh.
Jinho already getting 2 on site. That's perfect. That's the entire site for the Terps right there.
Yeah, what a play from Jinho, and now Spar's just trying to find this pick into TP. Finally gets the job done, and now UMD has only got to worry about 2 of these Rutgers defenders. Spots one of them from spawn there, so Jinho's just going to throw a plethora of his utility that way just to do any damage that he can, but I think all eyes are faced that way, so this round isn't looking too great for Rutgers, especially with considering the bye they have, but what a shot that they're able to get on Jinho, taking him down, but still time is ticking down and Rutgers has not gotten control of this site at all. So looks like UMD's just going to run away, take their guns with them, and be happy with another round win.
And Rutgers are going to just opt to die by Spike here, but Spartacus is still trying to farm ult orbs. And the Gecko does die by Spike, not letting Terps get any more value than they could. And we do have a timeout coming in. I think this is probably a good timeout from the side of Rutgers. Just UMD's been so aggressive, and they've just been really dominant in this first half of the game. And I think that's probably what they're going to talk about. Is like, okay, how do we stop them from maybe taking the site, or what can we do to make up some ground, because they don't have a sentinel. Like they did that second round, but I think they need to really target that if they want to do any damage to the Terps here.
Yeah, and this is exactly the start you want if you're UMD on attack, especially because of our comp being so attack favored. you definitely do not want to be losing these attack rounds because we really don't know how our defense is going to be looking without a Sentinel. We're going to be heavily relying on Flaps's just Astra smokes to try and slow down any push. But other than that, we don't have anything to slow them down when we're on defense. So this is exactly the position that we want to be in if you're UMD. And for Rutgers, I bet they're just kind of thinking, okay, how can we get past this half and hopefully bank on them having a weaker defense?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, especially with the initiators. Their utility doesn't bring much value as much as like a controller or a sentinel does, even when just contesting sites. So, like you said, there's really nothing to stop the attack, to stop any attacks here. So they really got to shine on attack here and make a big deficit for rounds and for Rutgers.
And a lot of noise being made A site by UMD. It's going to be matched with a lot of aggression from the side of Rutgers, aggressively peeking into showers. Not going to spot anybody. I don't even think they really saw Spart there because it doesn't look like they know there's a rotate underway for UMD. A full rotate through spawn, or is it? As the spike is actually headed back towards A site, so it looks like the B players are just going to have to make a ton of noise. Yeah, throw down a couple fake smokes. Just try and pull out off these rotates from A site because there's 3 defenders there right now, so it's the more heavily defended site. So these A players, Yex is just going to have to be super quiet for the moment until there's just, you know, more utility placed onto A, unless they're planning on rotating via TP.
Face your fear!
But Rutgers already still has 3 towards A, but one might be leaving. This might be huge. Little battle up in showers.
Left. Spike down.
Trade does come out from Yex.
Yex coming out on the other side of that one, and this Astra Wall by Flaps is going to help UMD be able to get this bomb down. It's met against a Brimstone ultimate, going to slow the Terps down a little bit, but they should have enough time. No, this Molly's going to make it so difficult to plant in time, but I think we got it, and now it's a matter of just playing this wall. Oh, the push though through the wall, so unexpected for Yex, but Spart's able to find that trade, and just Rutgers pushing through that wall like an absolute menace. Was able to take that round, and that round looked really disorganized from UMD.
Yeah, I think even just with the 3 players pushing showers just created a lot of like just chaos for UMD, and they had to really react off of it. But it was the fact that those 3 players still stayed on A, even though they threw a pretty good fake on B. They read it really well.
Yeah, it was great retake from Rutgers, just not being afraid of that wall, kind of knowing their only option is to really push through that thing and not let the spike tick down, and time is no longer on their side like they have done in previous retake rounds. So now they should have a bit of a better economy, and they have a lot more ultimates than UMD does. So let's see how they're able to approach this next round, as UMD looks like they're focused on taking showers and maybe some short control. And it's a flank with the Raze ultimate through showers, gonna find Spartacus, and Rutgers is just pulling a fast flank here around UMD, but UMD's in a position to actually avoid any of that damage as everyone else has rotated towards B. They're gonna have to watch out Garden though. Jinho didn't quite spot them yet, but Eugene will as he gets picked off. And Yex finally gets the job done. Jinho gets traded on the other side of it, leaving Yex in a 1v2 with only 2 HP to work off with. He doesn't have spike control either. Doesn't look like Rutgers is on site at all, so maybe he's going to be able to get a plant down, but just 2 HP, like any shot, any wallbang would be enough to kill him.
What if the heads line up really nicely here? He might have a chance, but no. Rutgers is able to take the 8th round of this match. And UMD might have to save this one. Their economy isn't looking too well. They built it up pretty well coming in the first couple rounds, but now they've got to save a little bit. I think I saw Marshall and maybe just some light shields.
Yes, this should do.
Yeah, so a save, yeah, for the first time in a while for UMD, because they've had just such a comfortable buy. Oh, that's an evil camera if you saw that being placed. But yeah, they just had so much money to buy, and now finally they're gonna be on a safe. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they're able to do with those non-ideal weapons in hand. Looks like they're more or less defaulting.
And 4 players towards A from Rutgers is kind of some diabolical work here. I mean, they've been gamble stacking pretty well the last couple rounds and putting 3, I guess even 4 in this case, towards one site. I think UMD is well aware of this.
And look at the positioning Rutgers is in. They are not in position to defend B site really at all. They have to rotate and rely on their Cypher trips through Garden, but that Outlaw comes in huge as it takes down Jinho. 1 out of 2 duelists taken down for UMD. The other one's only at less than half HP, but Yex just trying to make any damage that he possibly can. Finds a pick hanging on for dear life with little HP, but the Cypher just causing so many issues for UMD, and Spartacus gets taken down, and that will do it for the Terps on their save round.
I mean, what do you expect from the save round? I mean, at the very least, you might have a small chance of winning. So, I mean, I don't think UMD went into that round with any high expectations. But Spartacus did buy a Vandal, and Spartacus is actually kind of going off this round, or this game. 14-4 so far, as well as the Cypher on Rutgers. 10 kills and 8 deaths.
Yeah, those two are having great games, and it's been really interesting to see how they've had some really influential rounds for the Cypher. Last round was a huge round for them. I think they got 3.
Yeah, like you said, that is a pretty good camera from the Cypher, but Jinho able to take down the Cypher, which gives them full access to B site. But this flank, the 3-man flank, is crazy.
Oh, but Flaps has eyes on it, and now so do the other UMD players who are currently in hookah. That's going to be Jinho, as he's just forced to peek out, but cannot get that pick. And now Spike has fallen. UMD does not have control of it. It's just a brawl around that Spike. UMD coming up numbers up, but still they've got to get eyes on Spike, and it's going to force them to swing this Cypher hookah.
Yeah, but Eugene's very, very smart to let Spartacus just rotate here, because this Brim, I don't think realizes that Spartacus is on the flank here.
Yeah, Spart just has to get really lucky because he's relying on that Brim peeking out from that angle. It doesn't look like this Brim has any intentions of doing so, so he's got to jump up and find the right timing. He's going to try to wall bang, throw some utility his way.
It's very dangerous.
Such low HP that Molly could do it for him, but time's ticking down. He's got to take this fight.
And unlucky from Spartacus. He just barely clips that wall and falls straight into the Brim Molly.
And suddenly, Terps find themselves even with Rutgers. We had a huge lead, but look at the run Rutgers has had, winning 4 rounds in a row.
Yeah, that timeout really helped them just to kind of regain their footing into this match, but UMD has to regain their footing now, because now they're back on another save.
Yeah, and we saw how their last save round went. Hopefully this one's going to end up a little bit better. It looks like they're planning on playing numbers, just peeking everything together for the most part. And I'm actually surprised the X invested his ultimate here. He's going to be able to just spot that there's this one Cypher on site, but other than that, that's pretty much it. He has a Bucky, which could be dangerous, but no, it gets taken down. It's going to sound off the alarm bells for Rutgers as UMD fully takes control of the site.
It was very unlucky timing from Yex there.
Oh, Jinho just
unlucky
turned.
timing from Jinho as well.
Yeah, just at the worst time. And it's going to put Spart in a 1v3. And looks like Rutgers is already defusing bombs, so he has got to peek this. Finds the first pick on the Cypher, but cannot quite get there in time to get that diffuser off bomb.
Almost gets all 3. Does hit a headshot onto the Brim, but man, that Phantom only dealing 140.
Otherwise,
you hate to see it.
Look very stupid.
Man, look at these leaderboards. It's just like one person on both teams who's just fragging out, and everyone else just is super even. it's really interesting how this is playing out for both sides.
Yeah, the Terps do have a lot of ults to invest in this round. Rutgers have none. I don't think they're really close to any. They do have the Astra Wall, Fatal, and Raise Showstopper, so it very well could just be a site take, and looks to be like that.
Yeah, with the Astra smokes in place and that Fatal ultimate, it's going to be pretty easy for the Terps to just push all these defenders towards backside, towards heaven. Granted, they've got to watch it once those smokes start to dissipate, but no, they're going to place that wall there, so they hopefully don't have to. Spartacus gets taken down, though. Eugene follows through with that trade. Bomb not down yet, which is really interesting. They're playing on looking like they're rotating through spawn, but they've got to watch this close angle. Sky is just going to be so detrimental for the Terps, and it puts Jinho in a really awkward position.
And they're going to get a high-low here to make sure Jinho can't get a kill, and the high-low does work. And this puts Rutgers 7-5 at half. This is not the start. This is not the start to the map that you want for Terps, especially if this is their map pick, too. I mean, they had a pretty solid run going there, but they just fell off.
Yeah, and now they're on defense, which I think is just going to be so difficult without a Sentinel. And their only real option here is to play off of aggression and play off of picks, because they're not going to be able, or just play like retake. They're not going to be able to hold down site and buy time for their team to rotate in order to prevent a site execute. They're just going to have to kind of give it to them and then play a retake off of that.
Yeah, even on the topic of retakes, I mean, they have a pretty good retake ability with the amount of initiators, and especially the Yoru flashes.
Blinded.
There's a lot of room to work with just for retakes, and overall just being aggressive, and it looks like Spartacus might get a kill here, but no, the Cypher takes down Spartacus, but EX might follow up, and Flaps does get the kill through the smoke, but Rutgers is all the way on the other side.
And UMD's trying to play picks here. Jinho making it easier, finding a pick, but Eugene does get taken down elbow, which means Jinho's going to be forced to reposition and give up sight for Rutgers, and UMD's got to play numbers again. Jinho, great shots with the Ghost. He's not done yet up in Hookah. Just going to throw some utility, try and meet up his team with his team on site. Great shot from Flaps as well. And Elbow going to just leave one Rutgers attack left. And now UMD's probably going to be able to defuse this spike and have extra eyes to watch out for this push. And that's exactly what Flaps does. And what a round for Flaps, finding 3.
Yeah, I mean, Flaps and Spartacus just holding down the entire site. Just well played by both of them.
Checking the situation.
Flaps had a great game yesterday, if you guys were watching on the NACC broadcast. So, hey, hopefully, you know, he's doing really well this game, but he got so many kills, especially in the second game if you were watching yesterday. So hopefully he's on his way to turn up and get more and more kills, but hey, he's gotten a lot already.
Recovering it.
And that was just a great round, a glimpse of, you know, how great he can be.
Maybe looking to try not to give any room for any hookah pushes with Jinho. Just a really weird off angle.
Yeah, Jinho's just being patient, waiting for that hookah push to come through. He might get it eventually if he's patient enough, because this Gecko just kind of looking that way. And UMD just playing these angles here more than anything, more than utility, more than pushing. They're just playing these really, really tight angles, waiting for a swing to come through. And it's going to have to soon if you're Rutgers, because you don't got all day. You got to get on site, plant the bomb, and take down these defenders. But UMD just standing their ground so far, and that's all it is. And finally, we do see a push come through. Jinho going to come out on the other side of that one alive. And now UMD really holding down this B site, especially with Jinho finding yet another pick.
And they are very aware of the brim that was still stuck in An elbow, I think Yak Solomon was just pointing out like, hey, there's the brim's still an elbow. You gotta get eyes on that. But that was really well defended. Just being very patient, especially from Jinho and Hookah.
And the Terps have won their first 2 defensive rounds, which is a great sign if you're a Terps fan. You don't want to see them start to lose pistol. Then it's easy for Rutgers to go on a run, but it's UMD who's actually starting a bit of a run here on the defense. But this is like what we saw in the previous half, UMD winning those first 5-6 rounds, and then suddenly Rutgers just came back and swept them on a run for them. So it's all about runs. It's all about momentum in this game. So hopefully UMD on a bit of a momentum boost.
And I think they're definitely aware that it is going to be a B hit because Spartacus is all the way out by T-spawn, just clearing every angle. Does have to worry about the Cypher trip, maybe even just play back in case of a rotate.
And that flash didn't detonate in Hookah, so Rutgers feels pretty confident taking that for now. But silently, there's a bunch of Terps just sitting right below a Hell even. I really like that positioning from Eugene because the other players are really drawing them onto B side with their utility. But it does look like the rotate will come through. Spartacus has remained patient on this flank, though. He's going to start to heal people, but great sheriff shot from Eugene. Spartacus does get taken down as Rutgers start this rotate.
Pulling them in.
But UMD has made it just in time, actually, to possibly deny this plan from coming down if they play their cards right. Jinho being super aggressive out from Lamps, gonna find a pick, and now Rutgers really just may not have enough time here. UMD just gonna hide, wait for the clock to tick down to 4 seconds, and then play to safety. But no, Eugene finds that pick before they even have to worry about that.
My people, are you ready?
Yeah, I think just having flaps,
a sense of calm.
just take a really long flank just to clear out a lot of that area and get information that, hey, this is going to be a B hit. It just allowed UMD to be or allowed them to react off of whatever Rutgers did really easily. And then the fact that Spartacus died meant that, hey, they're going to rotate. They don't have much time. He died.
That should work. Taking that back.
And they were all just able to flood in onto A and just have a really good contest for sight.
UMD's pretty spread out, but all across the board, looks like they're being aggressive in each of their respective sites with Yex and Spart, who are going to be showers. Jinho, through Garden, finds a pick for himself. He's not done, going to send more utility that way to Rutgers. Spart's not done either on the other side, but Jinho does get taken down, going to leave Eugene all by himself in a 2v1 situation as Rutgers with the bomb actually is trying to head onto this B side, but no, it's a fast rotate towards A. So now Eugene's gonna be forced to rotate the other way with the rest of his teammates who are more or less in a great position to hold down this A site. A lot of aggression from Yex gonna be met by the other side from Eugene, and it's just a pinch, and Rutgers cannot find themselves a way out of it.
Yeah, way to just stay patient on A and keep all the players there. I mean, I think the goal of this composition is to play aggressive. And those areas like play aggressive in short or showers and anywhere else, because you don't really have a sense on it. You need to take as much space as possible, and having either short or showers control just helps with a retake and just helps even congestion too.
And Coach Gam, Coach NJV, this is a timeout for Rutgers, but regardless, we get to talk about our strategy a little bit more. And I think we're doing a great job on defense. We're being really aggressive, but not in a pushing way, in a holding aggressive angles way. We're really doing a good job of watching those entry points, because we know that if we give up sight or if we hold those passive angles, we're giving up so much space that we can't afford to give because we don't have any smokes, anything to slow them down. So I really do like the way that UMD has played on defense so far. I don't really think they have to make any major changes. I think they're doing great. It's just a matter of, keep responding to what Rutgers does if they decide to make changes on their end.
I totally agree. And I think, in the past, UMD typically picks a map, and their best side is the second side they pick. So I'm thinking that they might be just more comfortable on defense and have that in the second half. And so far, it does look like that. They just have to get over this one hurdle, whereas Rutgers has a bye round. And if they get over this, if they're able to win this round, they're looking pretty set for the rest of the game.
And it's just so much aggression in a long, what a double kill from Jinho with his rocket, but UMD's not done. Look, they're still looking. Belong Jinho's not done for that matter as he finds 3 for this round. Great round start for UMD, and like you said, such a big round, and it's over just in the blink of an eye. And like you said, the importance of this round cannot be understated because now UMD has such a good economy advantage. And also momentum, because when you win a round like that, it's gotta hurt on the other side.
Yeah, especially the fact that Rutgers just took a timeout, and I'm guessing nothing in the timeout that they talked about worked. That's a pretty big hit to their momentum and their confidence too, because like, you know, the timeout was supposed to stop UMD's momentum and maybe like get their foot back in the game, but that's just not the case. But in this next round, this round's gonna look really chaotic as there's a lot of gunfire going on in a short. 3 of the UMD players are taken out. 1 ult invested so far from Rutgers. This might be, I would say a save, but UMD's looking pretty well in economy. I think their main goal is just to take out as many Rutgers players as possible and farm their ults for next round.
And Eugene gets things started with a pick on site, and he's the only person left alive for the Terps. He's in a bit of a real hard position there, getting double swing back and forth like that. So this round is not going to go in favor of UMD, and that's, you know, not going to make them panic economy-wise because, look, they still have a pretty decent buy. But look, on the other side, it's also met with, you know, a good buy for them. And Ultimate's starting to rack up on both sides. 3 for UMD, 4 for Rutgers. Those are going to start to become super important as we get into these later rounds.
Yeah, and I think the switch here is that Rutgers is starting to play a little bit more aggressive because, I mean, they have ultimates, and if they fight for these spaces, they can very well win some of these spaces that UMD might seem to push out a little too far on.
And a bit of a gamble stack towards A site for UMD. Just 3 people there with only 2 on B site. And no one watching B Garden like they have in the past. And I think with that, Skydog Rutgers is going to learn that pretty soon. But Jinho pushes up, takes down that Gecko ultimate, throws a nade, and going to satchel right in their face. Now he's just going to hold this angle, wait for a peek to come through. But on the other side of the map, Yex finds a pick and is going to TP back to safety. But Spark gets taken down as he's holding Heaven. So things have been pretty back and forth here. But somehow the Terps are just able to be up in numbers for now. And now they have spike control, so that's going to be huge because they're just going to be able to hold a crossfire here. And this Cypher is not in position to get good timing.
There.
And Jinho maybe looking to catch the Cypher off guard by going into the spawn.
30 seconds left.
The Flaps and Yex are real far away from the spike. So it's kind of a 1v1 for the moment. But Jinho gets the job done as he pushes through the Cypher cage. And yet another strong round for Jinho. He's been on a roll recently.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, even the fact that he pushed the Cypher cage just shows how much confidence he has, even though the Cypher has total advantage and his cage is just pushed in when the Cypher grabbed the spike and won the round for Terps. And this is very big. I mean, they've only allowed Rutgers 1 win so far, especially being especially having a heavily attack-sided comp. They're just 2 rounds away from winning this first game. Sky ult is invested. Rutgers looking to play very aggressive this round.
And they've made their way onto the site, but it's going to be met with a Fade ultimate for UMD. Yex able to capitalize off of Spart's Fade ultimate. And so is Jinho, for that matter, as he's pushing up into Lamps and is going to continue with that aggression. But everyone on UMD is just doing their part here. 3 for Yex, and just incredible round for UMD just in terms of sheer aim. And that was just a really dominant round and
Yeah,
exactly what you want to push you into match point.
Yeah, I mean, even just with the chemistry of this team, they all knew exactly where to look for, exactly what to shoot, and it all worked out that round. Even though from our perspective, it looked like a bunch of chaos and stuff, but on the Terps side, it was probably just a regular Tuesday evening, just a choreographed attack.
And now look at the buy from Rutgers. Not looking good. They would have to pull off a thrifty and send this into overtime if they want to take the first map.
There's some stall ability here from Flaps.
And Spark gets things started on A site, but they've kind of backed Flaps up into showers here, but Yek's going to push through out of that Brim ultimate. But trades are just even on both sides. Somehow Spike got planted through the midst of all that chaos. And now UMB's got a retake. It's going to be Jinho and Eugene. Jinho's going to get things started in Lamps, but he gets taken down, putting things at a 1v1. Eugene is going to be on Spike. Going to try to half it before the Molly does too much damage. Peek out into Lamps, but not able to come out on the other side of that. And Rutgers gets it done with a thrifty. They needed that round desperately for their economy, but also just to keep this game alive for them. Yeah,
that Brim ult was like really well placed in showers because it caught both Spartacus and I think it was it Yex? No, it wasn't. It was Jinho.
Jinho.
Yeah, it caught both of them, and that was just kind of end game at that point because they already had Spike planted and they had full control of site, but even just 2 players down from 1 ult, it's just kind of unlucky, to be honest. But the Terps are able to work with 3 ults this round.
Oh, Eugene's just done a lot of damage already as he's looking B-long. And it's still going to be looking that way. Throw a flash to get some information. Gets the information that there's still people hanging out there. But Astra Smoke going to come through for Flaps. And that's going to make things really difficult for Rutgers as they've slowed down quite a bit. I bet they might be considering a TP at this point.
Yeah, Yex is already well aware that has his TP set up so he can just get 1 kill. Maybe 2 and get out as quick as possible, but it doesn't look like they're going to rotate.
No, instead they're going to push Hookah potentially, but Jinho is holding a really tight angle there. Rutgers just kind of stuck right now. I can tell the gears are kind of turning. Do we TP? Do we not TP? Are there enough defenders here? Do they know? Like, those are the questions that Rutgers has got to be asking right now, and they might just about swing into Jinho. And Jinho's going to pop his ultimate to try and get a first kill of this round, and he does exactly that. He's going to throw a nade their way as well, but gets it done with his Phantom. Finally, the push comes through for Rutgers. Jinho finally gets taken down, but what a round for the Cypher as he's found 3, now 4, as just needs Yex for an ace. So suddenly a round that was looking really haphazard for Rutgers just turns into a moment of brilliance. But Yex has an operator.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen him in situations like this, able to just clutch rounds very easily, but this op is not the best gun you want to retake a site like B with.
He's going to pick up a Vandal instead, and both of these players are going to be a Garden and be long, so he's going to throw a TP or a decoy, just to kind of get a little bit more information, but the Gecko ultimate actually whiffs on the clone, and that Cypher with such low HP, he's got to push out into the Gecko, but cannot find that kill, and Rutgers are just creeping back up into this thing. UMD has got to start worrying a little bit about getting their final round win, because this is getting close to overtime.
Yeah, the Cypher definitely went off in this round. I mean, just getting 4 kills spelled doom for the Terps there. And it doesn't look like they have the best buy either, the perfect buy at least. They still have some pretty good weapons, and Eugene does have an Odin. This might be a really big surprise to the side of Rutgers because, I mean, it just stops a lot of push potential, especially if he's spamming. I guess he got rid of the Odin, bought a Vandal instead.
And now it's silence from both sides for the most part, but UMD just making sure they have an aggressive eye on A, as Yex might be the first to peek out from there. The nade comes through to just try and slow things down even more, but actually the first pick comes through for Spartacus as he pushed up B long, and that's going to draw just more attention that way, but Rutgers is more or less still kind of stuck in the middle of this map.
They are very separated, 2 players to each side. The Terps do have basically full control over A. I'm guessing the last 2 players are going to try to TP whenever possible.
The ultimate comes through for Yex. He's definitely making that call out loud and clear that that is a TP towards B site. And Eugene gets traded on site, but Spartacus responds as he is still long. He hasn't moved from his position there. So while Rutgers do have eyes on site, UMD do have a large numbers advantage, and they're going to pull off a 2-person push from Hookah, is what it's looking like, and the other 2 are going to be sent towards CT. And they're about to peek through the smoke and meet up on site momentarily with Jinho getting things started in this retake for UMD, and Flaps is there to finish it, which means the Terps will take home the first map of this best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, even at the beginning of the game, we were kind of skeptical on this composition that they had, but I mean, NJV said that they were cooking up something, and they really did.
Yeah, that was a super fun game to watch. It was close and it was interesting. So if that's any incentive to come back for the second, hey, I don't know what is. So make sure you guys come back after a quick commercial break for the second map of this best of 3.
Terp Adventures. Take flight at STAM. Host to countless Maryland events, programs, performances, and more. Feed your body. Feed your mind. Feed your soul. Let your talents soar. Dance, sing, perform. Find your thing. Join more than 800 student organizations and clubs. Find community here. Leadership lives here. Art thrives here. With space to grow. We're all just kids at heart. Let your imagination fly. Compete. Play. With wings on our feet. Here your spirit can fly. Here your soul lifts up. Here you remember those who came before. This is STAM. This is the center for campus life, where Terp adventures take flight. You belong here. Come fly with us.
And I think by the end of the season, like now, we play together, everyone kind of jokes around a little bit more and kind of shines their natural ray. We're excited just to see them play better as well.
With the middle school program, the best part has been seeing the moments of teamwork where the middle schoolers really seem to get the game, and so that's when you can see they're starting to get a little bit hooked on how esports can be so fun.
Off game, or will Red turn things around?
Your ad tech stack is simple, streamlined, and easy to manage, right? Yeah, right. If you're in ad tech, then you know you have a problem. Ad tech is messy, and your tech stack includes way too many tools to effectively manage. At Playwire, we're here to uncomplicate your ad tech stack. We've consolidated the entire publisher ad tech stack into a single platform and added in proprietary technology and advanced tools to generate you even higher CPMs. Get access to an ad tech stack that is simpler and smarter.
Greg, also known as Sind, and I'm an initiator player for the Valorant Premier Team.
I'm Kazu, and I go by NJV, and I'm the coach for the team.
I'm Richard, and I go by Pickle Richard, and I'm the duelist player.
Pretty fun. I definitely liked all the guys I was playing with. It's fun to get in the server with them. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge balancing it with other things, but
yeah,
it's definitely something that I enjoy doing a lot.
Yeah, making like all the friends that we made through this team, so it really makes me happy. So it's like really awesome that we did this.
I think I had really fun times on this team. I played well every single game.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I think my favorite moment was map 5. I think that was a really fun match.
The
grand finals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
the
was
grand
fun.
final. Yeah.
Remember what map it was?
I don't remember that.
Oh, it was Sunset. Yeah,
Sunset.
Yeah.
And you played Rays.
Yeah, I played Rays.
Yeah, no, that map was really intense. Like, it was super, super hard. The pressure was definitely on. Like, it was super late at night. It was like midnight or
It
something.
was very late. It was really
1 a.m. or
like my favorite moment was probably the first match of the season.
Oh yeah.
First time in the studio together.
Oh, in the studio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. It
That
was
was
like
fun.
fun seeing all the Academy boys in the studio. So that was sick. Yeah.
My personal goal is I think I'm gonna try to hit Radiant this season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. It's,
Yeah.
I think it's definitely to win Big Ten right now, and then place top 8 in CVAL. That's our goal.
Top 8 CVAL.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big Ten is definitely the thing I'm most interested in seeing.
Mhm.
I'm not flying out, but hopefully, or the boys do well over
Hopefully
it.
we win.
Where is it?
I-
OSU? Ohio State?
Yeah, Ohio.
Ohio.
I promise at least second place.
At least second place? I think we can win it.
I think we can win it too.
I think we can.
We gotta
win
be
Big Ten.
humble.
Everyone,
Yeah.
we just don't. We can't get complacent.
Can't get
Yeah.
complacent. Never that.
That's a good one.
Go ahead.
Honestly, like unironically, I think Kazu is a very fun person to have in the program as like an emotional leader. Even though he doesn't always sometimes things can get a little disorganized with Kazu at the helm.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
for as much flack as we give him for being terrible at the game, he's actually
Yeah, if you watch our
He's
games
actually a very
while I play, you'll be surprised. Like, I hear House is guy my coach a lot.
Yeah.
Like a weird amount of time.
but I think Kazu's a great addition for him. I love that.
Yeah, I love
He's
how
great.
You love Valorant.
he's very wholesome.
He is very awesome.
Wholesome.
Yeah.
He's radiant. Remember that.
I'm ready to remember that.
Yeah, his timeouts have improved a lot too. As someone who's seen him coach over the last like 2.5 years.
Yeah, I
Your
coached
old
him for a while.
timeouts were
Yeah, that was when I was
great.
a little baby boy coach.
Yeah, but
Baby
now
coach.
he's improved a lot.
Yeah.
I really like having him as coach.
Thank you, Gregory. Wow, this is great. Let's do this more often.
That's the most praise you've ever heard.
He got an ego boost for free today.
That was awesome.
Hey guys, welcome back, and we are heading into round 2 of this Maryland versus Rutgers match that we've got tonight, and I believe the map is Sunset with the Terps starting on attack.
Sunset is not my favorite map. I don't think it's most people's favorite map. Definitely not the Terps, because this is not our map pick.
Yes.
But I am interested to see if we stick with like a normal cup or if we go a little crazy. And here we are right into agent select actually, so we will get the answer shortly. And it actually looks like Rutgers is the one who's going to be switching things up a little bit with an ISO, but we're offering some pretty interesting agents as well. So yeah, Rutgers looks like they're locked in. The only kind of wild card I see on Rutgers is the ISO. Everyone else looks pretty standard in terms of what we typically see on a Sunset match, but UMD is still kind of deciding. So that's going to be quite interesting. Wonder if we're going to see a Clove, potentially. Maybe not, but Clove is pretty good on this map.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that her smokes recharge and she acts as a second duelist does really help for Sunset. But even this ISO, I haven't really seen much gameplay with ISO, so I don't really know how he works in terms of competitive play and how he really works with other agents. I mean, I guess even with the Sova darts, if you hit it right, if you hit the geometry right, then it works. But I think you have to have a PhD in geometry at that point.
And so far, the picks for UMD have looked pretty normal with a double initiator. Yeah, everything looks pretty up to standard for UMD. So they're gonna have to figure out how to respond to that ISO pick. Looks like Yex is going to be our sole duelist this time on the Raze, which is, I think, a great pick for this map. And on this map, Cypher is essential, so I'm definitely glad we have a Cypher on our side as well. And Breach is also a really strong pick, just because there's a lot of like close kind of angles you can have here. Especially, I'm thinking specifically about like A and A elbow. Being able to have a stun from elbow onto A site's huge.
Right. I mean, just Breach is a really oppressive character to begin with because of his, the amount of ability spam potential you have with him. It's kind of funny to watch Breach mains just use their entire kit on one person.
And here we are. We're going to be on defense, which actually was a pretty strong side for us if we look at map number 1 of this series. And this time we have a little bit more of a defensive favored comp than last time, definitely, because we actually have a Sentinel. And I'm sure that utility is going to be placed on B, which is where it typically is for Cyphers. And Spart's actually on Cypher, which I didn't notice. He typically is not on Cypher. That's typically, Flaps' domain, but... So you're going to be switching it up in that regard a little bit. So excited to see how each member is able to step up to their kind of shifted roles slightly.
Already some information being gathered in mid with the spot of, I believe it was the Gecko.
Grenade!
And now most of the team is already taking off players in mid with Yex coming in with 2, and this nade might be really big with Spartacus pushing out
Spike down mid
of Market. That was huge. It's a 1v5 now with UMD looking very, very comfortable in terms of health. They just got to find this last Cypher here.
Yeah, great opening picks for Spart and Yex there, but the job is not over because there's still one Rutgers player left, but Spart is able to finish it up as he finds his 3rd for the round. Big round for Spartacus and Yex.
Yeah, it was a very, very good play for just peeking out into mid from Market, and I believe we might have a replay of this, or at least just Yex getting his 2 picks there. And that Raze nade just was perfect in its placement. Just after taking so much damage from the Classic, the nade was able to finish off. Or even damage the other with the Omen. Just trying to rush to safety. And this is a very good start to UMD because I believe Sunset's more of an attack-sided map, if I don't really recall. And just the fact that this isn't their map pick makes it all the better. So if they can hold on to some of this momentum gotten from the first round, from the pistol round, they'd be sitting in a pretty good spot.
And it does look like Rutgers is going to focus more on taking mid control, but UMD doesn't have anybody watching mid. They're going to kind of give it up to Rutgers, but the question is, will they decide to go through Market or wrap around through spawn? Looks like they will choose the Market option as they're making way onto site, and Spartacus has a couple trips there. It's going to trigger, actually, so he's able to use his cam to, get a ping on that ISO. Going to find the pick on the ISO, goes back through his cage for some safety. Gonna wait for the reinforcements from Eugene to show up, and Spartacus and Eugene just holding down this B site. Eventually, though, Spark gets taken down, so his bomb is gonna be able to get planted, and he's gotta watch out for this Cypher, who's just so good with a deagle, but Rutgers now faced with a 1v2 with Terps having complete site control. It probably going to be able to get this defuse, especially if Yex is able to get that pick.
Yeah, Yex coming in, just flying just to help protect Eugene for the defuse. I'm sorry, Jinho.
And like you said, this is exactly the start you want for UMD, 2-0. Now we are going to have a bonus because we bought up last round, so this is the round where we really beef up our economy. But yeah, this Cypher, they got to watch out for the Cypher because they, especially last match, have shown that super deadly, super just, you can't ever say the round's over if that Cypher is still alive.
And I mean, even with just a Sheriff, the Cypher has amazing aim, and just his flicks are like almost impeccable.
This time it looks like it's going to be a presence from the side of Rutgers. Jinho being a little aggressive out on the other side of things. Going to double peek with Yex. They're not able to find a pick yet. Actually, Spartacus gets taken down as he's trying to pull a flank off. So that is no longer an option for UMD. They're just trying to do some damage. They certainly have done so to the ISO. It's going to be a fast rotate. On the other side of the map, though, where Eugene is just kind of left in market to fend for himself with a ghost. Not going to be enough arsenal for him as he gets taken down, and B-site is completely in the hands of Rutgers. So now UMD is going to retake. Looks like they're planning to do so as a group. No one's flanking, no one's going to market. Everyone pushing together through Boba right now for the most part. But look at this passive setup from Rutgers already set up. They're just going to sit B main, wait for a tap to come through, and then they're just going to probably spam utility or spam bullets. Just hope that their teammates are picking the spike. Oh, great job from Jinho, though, to find two early on, and he's the only one who's left alive, half HP. Finds three for himself, only one left. He appears to know he's market. It's just going to be really patient, have to wait for a swing, or time's ticking, so he's going to have to push out, but cannot find that last pick. But that almost looked great for Jinho.
I mean, even still, that was a great round for the Terps because they left nobody standing. I mean, at the very end of the round, I know we didn't get to see it, but the ISO did die to Spike. And that's huge because now Rutgers just doesn't really have much money to play with here, but the Terps are looking pretty comfortable. Maybe with the exception of Flaps.
Yeah, now UMD also has two ultimates. If things start looking dire in the round, they can always pull that out, especially EX's Raise Rocket. It's going to be huge. Spartacus is the first to spot an engagement. He does get picked off, though, but it doesn't look like we're seeing a real fast B hit off of that pick. Instead, we're seeing an ISO ultimate going to force Jinho into 1v1 that he's going to end up losing. And now Rutgers still looking pretty unsure about where they want to hit.
Yeah, that ISO, even in my opinion, is really annoying, especially if you have to go against the shield, because it just puts you at a huge disadvantage. But Yex over here already got the Cypher down, trying to equalize some lives. Trying to play aggressive, is able to get one. This does put Rutgers in a 3v2 situation.
Last player standing.
Flap's not able to get that kill, and it's all
Making
left in
cover.
a 3v1 here with Eugene.
And the only thing Eugene really has
30
in his
seconds
favor is
left.
positioning. He hasn't made any noise, so they really should not know where he is, and he's going to use his advantage. He finds the
enemy
first pick,
remaining.
make that two of them actually. Great spray transfer, just great crosshair transfer from Eugene. Gonna throw out a flash to hopefully find the third. Has to get off this bomb, though. It just barely cannot get off the bomb in time, but 2 rounds in a row that we just lost by a small margin.
And some PMing coming from the ISO there. Just really unlucky on Eugene's part. I mean, I don't think you really expect someone to come from CT and push you, when you're that, or when you're defusing at least. So a little unlucky, but well played. He did get 2 guns out of the hands of Rutgers. But UMD forced to save in this round if they want to have any money to work with going in the next couple rounds.
Yeah, and they place most of their defenders on A side, but it's actually going to be a B execute. Spart's just going to have to run away for dear life and calling out to his teams just where all of the Rutgers players are. And he actually is able to spot this ISO, but that shield is going to prevent that pick from actually connecting. And now we're looking at a 5v5 retake. Spike is down, so UMD's got to kind of, get this show moving a little bit. They're going to definitely rely on their breach utility to make their way onto site. As soon as the smoke dissipates, they're going to have a lot more clarity, so Flaps able to find that first pick. Jinho, though, gets traded, and Eugene and Yex just both dying simultaneously, and suddenly it all falls apart for UMD. Rutgers finds themselves in a leading position for the first time on Sunset.
Yeah, UMD might be able to turn around in this next round, given the fact that they can buy guns. Spartacus does have to go for that Guardian with light shields, but everyone else sitting pretty comfortably with buying a rifle. Both sides have 2 ults to work with, both an Omen ult and then a Gecko ult on the side of Rutgers and a Cypher ult on the side of the Terps.
Spart looks like he wanted to push up a little there, but I think he saw a little bit more than he wanted to, actually, so he's going to back up, let that smoke come in from Eugene to just try and buy more time and not swing into 4 players there. But Eugene actually gets things started as he peeks out from Market, finds that pick on the Cypher, which, as we know, was a huge pick. But the rest of the Rutgers squad looks like they still have their eyes set on B side. They're going to use the Gecko ultimate to help them take down some of the Cypher utility, but actually doesn't catch anybody. They're going to send in Wingman, who's currently planting as Eugene finally gets picked off in Market. And now Spartacus also gets picked off, and Flaps is soon to follow, so UMD just losing numbers real quickly. Finally, Jinho is the one who's going to respond to the Terps. Yex looks like he's going to peek out, and Jinho's going to pop actually his ultimate to try and support Yex in his fight. But no, Jinho fails to capitalize off of his own ultimate, leaving Yex as the only Terp alive with 15 HP, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that breach ult was a little unlucky there, trying to get the kill on the Yeoman, because even though he was stunned, the bullets just seemed to work out in his favor. And Spartacus did look like he was kind of in a panic mode when everyone started rushing on site. He only had a Guardian to work with, so he couldn't spray that much to help contest site or just even create damage. But once Rutgers just flooded onto site, he just really had nowhere to go and ended up getting pinched and wasn't able to capitalize off the ISO, or kill the ISO at least. Spartacus very aggressive into mid. Maybe not such the best idea, because now Rutgers are going to take advantage of that and go straight to A.
It's you and me.
Yeah, suddenly Rutgers seems to have full A control with the exception of Flaps being there, but Jinho is actually going to be the first one to find the trade. Flaps going to double back with the rest of his teammates towards CT.
Spike planted. One enemy remaining.
And now Flaps and Eugene both get taken down, leaving just the Yex and his trusted judge left. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was just like a situation where he's looking for exit frags.
His dream might come true as the Gecko and Cypher do push up into CT. He does get one. Unlucky timing as he turns around and gets shot in the back by the Sova.
So multiple rounds in a row now. Look at the run that Rutgers has had, and that's exactly why we are calling a timeout right here, right now, to try and just get this next round, to try and slow down Rutgers by any means. I think the next round we're going to have a bit of a better buy, which is typically when you want to call a timeout, is before, you know, you're able to actually have weapons to do the plan you want to implement. So What do you think needs to change for UMD?
I think a lot of it just has to do with their with not being the first one picked off, because multiple times, you know, it's typically someone on UMD that gets picked off the first as the first kill in the round. And like last round it was Spartacus, but I think the round before, I actually forget who it was the round before, but I think just, you know, playing a little passively, but also just making sure that they can really contest the sites and get the kills they need off of or from the util, and just kind of contest site and hopefully just play a better defense, because Rutgers is really playing aggressive and taking the sites pretty well. I think that's what NJV is going to be looking to talk to the Terps about here and change something up. But like you said, the time to take a timeout is now, because now they're on a bye round and they have 3 ultimates to work with. They do have the Sova, Omen, and Cypher ult.
And that dart is going to send alarm bells for UMD. Spartacus Yex going to try to double swing this. Yex able to find a pick there. They're going to double back to safety, throw out the cage, just try and slow down the rest of this push from coming through. And this is a great hold so far from UMD. I think this is really what they failed to do in the past couple of rounds, is just to hold down this B site. And now Spike has come down for Rutgers. They're able to pick it back up, but they have not been able to make any leeway onto this B side. One way also comes through thanks to Eugene. So now UMD just has such an advantage right now holding this entry point.
We do have information that there still are players in main from Rutgers. They have relatively good control over the entirety of the map.
And a bit of a stalemate before Rutgers can enter onto B site. There's a crossfire in order here from Yex and Spartacus, so that is something that Rutgers is going to have to really figure out if they're going to want to make this way onto B site. They haven't rotated, which I'm surprised they haven't rotated yet, but they're just going to dump a whole lot of utility. But it all goes wrong for Rutgers, as Spartacus able to find 2 and the spike for that matter. And now it's just one more Rutgers attacker to deal with, and it's actually going to be the breach utility that takes care of that one. So great round from UMD. That's exactly what you want to see on the other side of that timeout, finally breaking the run that Rutgers was going on.
Yeah, and the fact that they were able to get the first 2 kills in the round against Rutgers just helped them tremendously, because that also kind of trapped them into B main, because once they figured out that basically all the players were there, I mean, we had one sitting over on A, but the mid control was also relatively good too. Just to make sure that they aren't rotating anything. And you see kind of the same play by Yex, getting a little aggressive into B main there.
Yeah, but look at this mid positioning from Rutgers. They're being really quiet so far, but they've just covered so much ground. They're about to fully take control of mid, and Flaps is really only the only person in position to take this fight. But he is forced to back up and just stick to defending this site. It does look like it is going to be an A hit for Rutgers. Going to throw down Wingman to get that bomb down, but Wingman gets taken down. But Spart is in position here to defend site, but he gets, you know, picked by that Omen. So now Plant's going to be able to come down, and now Yex kind of just forced to fight at a bit of an awkward long distance angle, as UMD just has to regroup. But watch out for this mid push from Rutgers. Jinho's got to be aware of it, but the wallbang comes through. Eugene finally finds an answer for UMD, but just the damage has already been done.
Yeah, I think Eugene's best bet is just to save here and keep a gun for next round. There's no point in trying to force a 4v1. But that mid push definitely caught the Terps off guard. I don't think it was really something they expected, because Rutgers hasn't done anything like that, and they're pulling out like every trick in the book, every play they have on Sunset. I mean, granted, it was their map pick, so
Yeah, it's another thing to note is that this is not UMD's map pick, and we are in our side pick, but just still, this is not a map that UMD has looked historically super comfortable in, because it's not a map that typically people reach for, you know, in the competitive scene these days. Just it's not a favorite map when you have maps like Ascent, when you have maps like Haven, though I feel like those are more popular, definitely. So UMD might just be a little bit out of their element, and it's just a matter of kind of settling into the defense. And the ISO ultimate doesn't catch any Terps. Bit of a sigh of relief on the other side.
Scanning ahead.
Rutgers most of the way grouped together. Looks like this will end up being a hit, but A is actually the lesser defended site by UMD so far. Most players are B, so there's gonna have to be a rotate if Rutgers decides to make way here, which they've been pretty quiet so far, but all the alarm bells are gonna start to sound as utility starts falling into place.
Right here.
Spike planted.
Eugene was almost there to killing the Gecko to stop the plant, which would have been huge. This is going to be a very big fight for retake.
So 2 ultimates immediately popped as soon as that single tap came off, and Rutgers just coming out on the other side of every fight seemingly. And that's exactly what happens. Everyone just won their individual 1v1, and UMD could not hold on to site. They got site control because they were able to tap that bomb, but they couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, and Yex did end up losing his ult. And the screen was frozen for a second, but now we're back. UMD going into their 3rd save round for the first half, maybe even 4th.
Honestly, I think the half switch might be good for us, just a change of momentum, because when we're on defense, I feel like we're not really setting the tempo. We're not being aggressive. We're not being confident. Whereas as on attack, I feel like we just have a lot more confidence, you know, in setting the pace of the match. So it could just be a matter of trying to take these last couple defensive rounds and hoping that your attack ends up a little better.
Yeah, I mean, even on the fact that, you know, defense isn't the map, or defense isn't the side for that, Eugene does get a pick, and Flaps does get a pick with his ult, which is very huge because now Terps are up in a 5v3. But like you said, I mean, the Terps have just been playing very reactive off of what Rutgers has been doing, and they do like to set the tone of the match, and that's how they win most of their games, the fact that they're in complete control.
And a trade's gonna come through, but what a round for Flaps, as he is up to 3 in the kill feed for this round, and the only remaining Rutgers player is only at 15 HP, so Jinho's gonna be able to finish that up. And also something that we didn't mention is look at the sunset changes. There is changes, I believe, to both sites on this map. So love it or hate it, sunset is back, but with those changes, I do like the B site changes a lot. I think it was way too exposed before.
Yeah, especially with the Cubby, because you have so much vulnerability to market before the change, because players from market could just spam, but now it gives the attack side another place to plant.
And now UMD's just gonna have to try and make something work for their last round on defense here. Finally looks like they cracked the code in the previous round, but will they be able to do it again?
They have 3 ults to work with, and Spartacus does get taken down by the ISO, which is not good news, but Eugene is able to respond and stop the ISO in his tracks.
And it's just going to be a bit of a utility dump for Rutgers onto B side. Eugene forced the TP back to safety, just trying to send a bullet or two their way, hoping it hits, but looks like it's not going to yet. He's just going to wait for the rest of his team to send in the reinforcements for this retake. And it will be most of the way grouped together from Boba to try and retake, with the exception of Eugene, who's going to be in for Market, but just gets caught without his gun out, and suddenly things just fall apart. Yex, the only option is to swing out here. Comes out on the other side of it alive, but only down to 30 HP and a bomb to defuse.
It's a very tight situation for Yex. Is not able to win that round, but I don't think it was really winnable since he did have 40 HP. It was just one shot away from dying. But I mean, UMD was still able to get one round in that last little drought, and bring it up to a 4-8 at half.
Yeah, so I'm just hoping as UMD transitions to attack, they just feel a little bit more confident and just really start to go on a run. A run is really what we need. We haven't gone on one yet this match, and I think that's really where we get ahead. And as long as we can just take it round by round, win the pistol round, then worry about the rest, I think we'll be okay.
See the Cypher trying to find the right position to put his trip. And this is very crucial for the Terps to win this pistol round if they want to have any momentum going into the second half. And Yex very aggressive, flying in the back of sight.
Yeah, fast entry from Yex. Doesn't spot anybody yet, but is certainly sending shots all around. But it's the Cypher who's the sole defender on this B side, or was for a moment, who's really causing issues for UMD. But Flaps finally stops him in his tracks. But traits have just gone back and forth, and all that's left is Spartacus, who does get taken down eventually, and that is not how you want to see UMD start this half, because winning that pistol round's everything in terms of your economy. Now they're forced to save, likely, but actually looks like they want to buy up here.
Yeah, I think it is a very smart idea to buy up here because you're so down in rounds. It would also be a surprise to Rutgers because I'm assuming they probably wouldn't expect to buy, but having the Stingers, especially in the hands of Yex too, because you have so much speed with Raze, you can close distances very easily with a Stinger, and then maybe even get yourself a gun. And I think that's what they're going to try to do, is go heavy on B, and it might actually work out for them because there's nobody really sitting on B except for the Cypher, maybe lurking around through Market and CT, but nobody's on site.
Another fast B execute for Yex, using his satchels to fly into Boba. And now, but they gotta watch out for the Cypher, because that's really where all fell apart last round, and things are looking really reminiscent. So they gotta just get a pick on this Cypher, and that's exactly what Flaps is able to do with his Stinger. And now Rutgers fully making themselves known through Boba, and there's just so many gunfights going on all at once in that one little spot. Terps not able to come out on the other side, numbers up, and yet again another round just slipped away from the Terps, and that looked so similar to what we saw the first round.
I mean, even that crossfire holding CT, it got so much value, but the market fights just had the Terps lose that round. I think they really needed to fight and control market, and that's just not, they weren't able to do that, which allowed the ISO just to swing right around the crossfire for CT and ultimately just kill both of them.
And UMD suddenly in need of a massive comeback to make this thing winnable, and they don't look like they want to switch anything up, which is surprising considering how the last two rounds have gone. Granted, they've lost these last two rounds by a narrow margin, but still haven't been able to come out with a win. But they don't want to switch anything up. They just want to keep on pushing utility this way. Yex gonna satchel in towards backside any moment now with a judge this time. Not gonna quite spot anybody yet. Bomb's able to come down, but Bomb's come down the past two rounds too, but it's just a matter of this retake that Rutgers has been able to pick up that's been so detrimental for the Terps this time.
Yex being taken by the ISO. This is not a good look for him, and the Terps are already down now. It's a 1v3. Eugene does get a pick on one of them, but ends up getting traded by the Cypher.
Yeah, just these retakes. Like I said, the problem is not getting Bomb down. The problem is keeping it ticking, and it's a matter of just getting yourself in position to take these retake fights. The Terps have gone B 2 rounds in a row, or 3 rounds. It just didn't work out for them. Now they finally look like they want to switch things up, maybe send at least a couple people mid, couple people A, just see what's happening. But the Cypher decided to switch sites at perfect time for the side of Rutgers.
I think it was kind of unlucky for Yex in that last round because the ISO picked him up and not anyone else. And he had the worst gun to contest an ISO ult with. But Flap's going to be met with a brigade of Rutgers players.
Oh, he's just drawing so much attention his way, which is good.
Pick off the Gecko, which is very huge.
Yeah, that's not bad if you're Flaps at all, because look how much attention you've drawn your way, and A is just clear for the most part, because look how quiet the attackers are being on A site for right now. But now the alarm bells are going to sound as smoke start to get placed down. Oh, great pick for Spark. Gonna use his Cypher ultimate to sell out the remaining Rutgers defenders, who are all of which are sitting CT right now. Do like Jinho's positioning a lot if he manages to wrap around in time, but it's Spartacus who's getting the job done on the other side of the site. Rutgers able to respond, finding 2 picks. They get Eugene and Yex to fall. And Jinho soon after, for that matter, and they've left Spartacus in an awkward position with only 21 HP and a spike that's being diffused. He manages to find the first, but cannot quite get the second in time as he popped off the spike in just the right time.
You failed.
Yeah, everything just kind of fell apart for the Terps there. I mean, they had a 4v2 at one point, and they just allowed the Rutgers players to get their ones. It's not really what you want to have happen. And now Rutgers up at game point here, 12-4. They do have a much better buy than UMD, because UMD has to scavenge whatever money they have with light shields and maybe a Vandal or 2 here and there.
And this time the Terps have most of their players towards A site, nobody towards mid this time, which is different than what we saw previously. Yek's gonna take a bit of elbow control, just trying to creep up, use some utility to clear those angles for him. Spark gets eyes on the Cypher utility that's there, which is gonna definitely alert the Terps that the Cypher is on site. They do take down Yex, but Flaps responds, and great shots from Spartacus as he's looking towards mid. And once again, we have Spike planted, but can we keep it going is the question, because these retakes have been so strong for Rutgers. This time, though, things are working out in favor for the Terps, as there's only one more Rutgers player left, but not for long, as Flaps is able to find that last pick, and finally, a round win for the Terps.
Yeah, if they're trying to look to get back into this game at all, they really need to step it up and get a really good win streak going on here. But if they lose one round, that's the game, and we're on to map 3.
Yeah, there's no room for error here for the Terps, because like you said, one more round loss for them would send us directly into map 3. So every round is a super crucial round, and it looks like they're going to start out by going B site. But look at the positioning from Rutgers. They really place their bets on UMD taking mid control, but it's just not there from the other side. And instead, it's A that UMD's going to take. Spartacus actually did find that super important pick on that Cypher mid. Now he's going to go up and meet up with the rest of his team. And Yex does get taken down, but Spartacus and Flaps are there to respond as they're sitting from B main. And now sitting from B main is going to be the name of the game for the Terps, as they're just trying to play the spike, play their time. Don't have a ton of HP to work with. Eugene only down to 4, but the Bucky comes in to clutch huge. And that's why the Bucky's great sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, just TPing on site and right behind the Omen too, and killing the Omen, that puts you to a very good spot for the Bucky, because that's exactly the kind of range you want. And even though he was down to only 4 HP, that was still a great clutch with a great flick to finish off the round. And now we're getting to the game where both sides have a ton of ultimates to work with. So if Rutgers wants to, they can invest all 5 of their ultimates to hopefully guarantee a round win to go to map 3.
Oh, look how fast Spart is taking that mid control up into market. Works out beautifully for the Terps, but he's roped into a 1v1, comes out.
What a shot by Spartacus.
Yeah, great job. He comes out on the other side of it alive, and that's going to push UMD at such a huge numbers advantage, but they don't have bomb planted yet. They've got to work on planting that thing now, and they've also got to be super aware of this Boba presence from Rutgers. Soon it's going to be 2 of them that way, because this Gecko looks like that's where they are planning on grouping up with the rest of their team. Oh, Eugene, great job defending Boba there. And that's really where we've been hurt the most is Boba. This 4-person retake usually from Boba has just been killing us, but finally the Terps come up with an answer.
Yeah, and I mean, let's look at this play from Spartacus again. I mean, it was completely unexpected from Rutgers for Spartacus to run straight up into mid and get the kill in the ISO. That was huge.
Yeah, and he had to come through guns blazing, just tearing down that door market that Rutgers closed, and regardless was able to find that kill. So great confidence there from Spart. And Jinho gonna use his breach ultimate just to make a lot of noise beat, but that's not where the spike is. It's all a diversion actually, and it's gonna be a fast rotate, and Rutgers looks a little out of position if UMD is able to take A fast, but the alarm bells are sounding for the side of Rutgers because look, they're rotating back towards this A site. UMD haven't taken much space there yet, but they've got us soon. And Flap's gonna pull out that Sova ultimate, but he gets pushed actually by that Sheriff, gonna enable a Cypher ultimate to come through. And it's gonna sell out UMD's positioning. But great job from Eugene just taking down that Cypher. Gonna lend a little bit more security for UMD. And now Yax is playing in elbow, and he's actually going to be the one who gets the closing pick on things, and UMD just keeping things interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think the player that round definitely was Jinho because of his ability usage. I mean, even that last 2 kills in the round, that's kind of what gave UMD so much momentum because, one, he used his ult on B site to create so much of a distraction that they did end up rotating, and I know the Gecko just briefly left A site, but even in the last two kills, he had his util perfectly placed. So whereas if Yex didn't get that kill, his aftershock definitely would have.
And now Rutgers has actually called a timeout because they just need to muster up one more round win to send this thing to 3 maps. And that's what they're talking about right now. They've got to just be talking about, okay, how do we get this one more win? One more win is what we need. UMD, on the other hand, saying, hey, we've built up some momentum. Let's just see how far we can push this thing.
Yeah, I mean, really, they don't have anything left to lose in this match. So they're trying to get as far as they can. And if they can definitely put this to overtime. They have the capability to do it. Both sides do have 2 ults. And if they use this right, they can definitely get it up back to 12. And I think Rutgers is trying to figure out, like, you know, UMD has started playing very aggressively and being able to combat that and react off of it, because now UMD is in charge of the game now because of how much momentum they've pushed up. And so far UMD's gonna play it slow.
I must wait a moment.
I take it back. Yex is already on site with his ultimate, trying to look for a pick. Not gonna be able to find anything, but gets trapped by the Cypher trip.
Yeah, he's just gonna have to fire a market, a shot in the dark. Not able to find a pick there, but UMD just looking like they might have site control. They're not super confident though, because they can tell there's just a lot of presence from both Market and Boba right now, and that's what's been so detrimental to them later after they're able to get this bomb down. But Jinho able to start things off on the right foot towards Boba. It's going to be a lot of aggression actually from UMD even before they're able to get Spike down at all.
And a lot of shots coming out in CT, but Rutgers able to take out the rest of the UMD players. And now we're going into map 3, which I believe is Haven. And that's a comfort pick for UMD. I mean, we've seen a lot of games where UMD has just shined on Haven. I think we'll probably see something like that coming into this next game. So with that said, stay tuned while we take a quick ad break.
Whether you're a new publisher or app developer, or if you've been around the block for a little while and you have your own ad ops team, Playwire is developing the solutions and products that are perfect for you.
RAMP stands for Revenue Amplification Management Platform. But really what it does, it helps you make more money per user, and it helps you simplify your business so you can just focus on what matters, which is making great content. So if you think about today's ecosystem, there's so many different pieces to run an ad tech platform.
RAMP brings the entire ad ecosystem under one umbrella. Everything from centralized ad unit creation to piping in those demand sources. We layer on a DMP, and we take care of your data privacy and consent management for you as well. We tie all of that together with robust analytics.
Playwire really offers our publishers two different models at this point. We've got the full service model where we come in and we cover everything. And there's now our new self-service model where you can come in and you can say, I just want Playwire to take care of some of these things for me. Another thing that we've had a lot of partners do with us in the past is say, hey, maybe I have a few of my own direct campaigns that I want to run. Or I've even got an ad ops team. I don't know whether Playwire is right for me because those people are doing a good job. We don't want to displace them in favor of Playwire. That's fine. We're happy to bring all the technology that we've put out there, but use it with your own team and with your own ad stack. What does that mean for you as a publisher? It means that you get to leverage all of the revenue maximization technology that we've got in place and still have all of the capabilities and all of the demand partners that you're used to working with. You can have your cake and you can eat it too.
We actually do things at such scale, right? We're serving 70 billion ads a month at this point. That's a huge benefit that we're passing on to the publisher.
Revenue intelligence marries human intelligence with machine intelligence. At its core, revenue intelligence is about taking all the demand that you're already getting and getting more out of it. We want to make it so that you're getting 10% more from your ad inventory without even worrying about who the advertisers are. It's based on us going in and understanding what are the places where we can put additional price pressure on. There's all sorts of situations like this where you can eke out little benefits and add them all up. You're quickly at a point where you are getting that 10, 15, 20% uplift on your revenue without having made any changes in who's actually doing the advertising.
Our DMP is built from the ground up to work in a cookieless environment and not use cookies to basically store, user behavior or anything like that. And it's built right into the RAMP platform.
We can tell advertisers information about user interests, but also user behavior, do it on a massive scale, do it in that real-time way that we also do with our revenue intelligence capabilities, and also do it in a way where we can leverage the size of our network. We're trying to do everything that we can to show you every step of the process of getting an ad onto the page. That means that we've got much richer charts and graphs, a lot more ability to look at a piece of information and drill down on it. Answer that question that maybe you didn't even know that you were asking. We're trying to make you think differently, actually, about your business, about how your business relates to advertising, and reveal all of that through the platform. So analytics are one big piece of it.
It's a constant evolution. We're constantly updating our technology. We're constantly creating the future.
It's a real challenge for publishers these days to navigate advertising technology. It seems like every 6 months there's some new challenge. And at Playwire, we make sure that we take all of that pain away from our publishers so they can focus on their core business of publishing.
Terp Adventures. Take flight at STAM. Host to countless Maryland events, programs, performances, and more. Feed your body, feed your mind, feed your soul. Let your talents soar. Dance, sing, perform. Find your thing. Join more than 800 student organizations and clubs. Find community here. Leadership lives here. Art thrives here. With space to grow. We're all just kids at heart. Let your imagination fly. Compete. Play. With wings on our feet. Here your spirit can fly. Here your soul lifts up. Here you remember those who came before. This is STAM. This is the Center for Campus Life, where Terp adventures take flight. You belong here. Come fly with us.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are going the distance to map number 3, which is going to be Haven.
Yeah, and I mean, even in the past, we've seen pretty streamlined comps for Haven. I mean, you got the Sova, Breach, Jet, sometimes most of the time Cypher, and who am I missing? Omen. That's it.
Yeah, this is a map we tend to see mirror comps on a lot because I don't think there's a lot of room for dilly-dallying per se, but you never know.
Yeah, especially in the third game of this match, going into match point, you don't want to dilly-dally at all in this game.
Yes,
so winner takes the money here.
Yeah, winner takes all for this map. And this is UMD's map pick because we did pick the first and the third maps, so it is not our side pick to start off, and we are going to start off on defense.
And so far, pretty standard comp coming from UMD. On Rutgers, it looks like they're going to get the ISO, which did cause them a lot of trouble last game, but I mean, you don't have any elevation advantages if you run the ISO. The only off angles you can get is just with the Omen, but with Jet, I mean, Yex on Jet, we've seen on Haven, I mean, he really speed runs to get that op, especially if they're starting on defense. That's probably going to be the first thing he tries to get, is save the first 2 rounds, get the op, and then it's looking pretty good at that point.
Yeah, so mirror comp with the exception of the duelist pick, UMD opting for Yex on that Jet, but on the side of Rutgers, they want to go with the ISO again. ISO did work out for them on Sunset, so not super surprised that they decided to go for ISO again, but I'm really hyped to see Yex on Jet, especially with an operator, because he's so good with an operator, and especially on defense, holding C long, holding A long, just those are 2 of his favorite spots, especially A long. We've seen him cause quite problems through there. You know? He
hits shots I would never have expected anyone to hit, and I think this is really his comfort map too, I think, as well as Ascent. And the Terps are going to, I'm assuming, show some aggression out in mid. However, this might not work out in their favor because all of Rutgers are stacked towards mid and A. I'm assuming this might be an A hit.
It does look like an A hit's in order. Spartacus certainly relaying that information to the rest of his team as a ton of utilities being pushed his way, but he has to push around the smoke if he wants to get eyes on exactly how many people there actually are there. Going to be met with issues from short pretty soon, so the rotates are going to come through for UMD. It's just going to try to help him fight off this a little bit, but both of them are holding pretty passive angles, just going to give up sight a little bit to Rutgers and wait for the rest of their team to come through so they can form up a retake through CT and Heaven, no one on the flank.
Yeah, and Yex does give up that fight just to meet up with his team. Flash will be taken down.
And Yex just trying to just take a shot in the dark with his sheriff there. Eugene just falling down from Heaven. Not going to work out in his favor, or the Terps' favor for that matter. Only Yex is alive and quickly gets taken down backside. So that's UMD, and they've lost their first defensive round, and now they're going to save.
Yeah, definitely not the start you want, especially if Yex is trying to save up for an op, because now he might not even be able to get an op until like round 4 or 5. And they are going to buy up some sheriffs here to maybe try to pick off a couple weapons from the side of Rutgers. And Jinho maybe trying to buy a shorty.
This time Rutgers is going for the 3-2 split. They do throw a smoke C, so that's going to alert Eugene that that is kind of where they have eyes on. A lot of shots being fired too through C long. But Eugene throws a smoke that he can kind of hide behind himself. Once that smoke dissipates, he's left a bit in the open, and Rutgers, I'm actually surprised that they're not taking any garage control here because UMD has that on lock. It looks like they're expecting that, but no, it's going to be a full push in from C-Long. Jinho with a shorty. This could be an issue. Collapse is the first to get taken down from UMD. Yex is the only one who's responded so far, but he also gets taken down eventually.
Got the spike.
And that just leaves Flaps. And he was just way out of position, not really close to his team there, or Spartacus, sorry. So Spartacus just kind of left out of position, just trying to find some exit frags. But with a Sheriff, it's going to be hard to pull off anything crazy here, especially when you have Vandals on the other side of things.
Yeah, I think the ISO is just trying to die there just so he gets his ult for next round.
Well, he picked up a Bulldog, so he could try to get a long pick because that's a better long-range weapon than a Sheriff is.
Thug, concentrate, Sova.
But eventually does get picked off because, you know, just with 2 people long, that's always just super difficult to defuse at that point. So that's 2 rounds in a row that have not gone in UMD's favor. But this round, finally, they're able to buy up a little bit.
That goes there.
And ISO looking to buy a Vandal, maybe trying to get a pick off of his ult. This is very, very ult that he has. Or early ult, sorry.
Yeah, and this early ult could be bad for UMD if they sell out their positioning too early. You could easily get forced into a 1v1 with that ultimate. And I really do like Yex's positioning here, especially since there is a Rutgers attacker who is sitting window, but looks like they're going to fall off and actually are going to pop that ultimate. Not going to catch any Terps in its way, though. Great work from Spartacus, though, holding down a short, but he does end up getting traded. And Yex might have a devious flank here, but he's forced off of it because he does get spotted off.
He's just going to back up and regroup on B. Well, Rutgers is holding a decent amount of space, maybe going back towards A.
And things are so quiet right now, but it's the calm before the storm because Rutgers is in great positioning to take A site. UMD not being aggressive on the other side of things, instead being passive through Heaven, holding CT, but they're not in a position to stop this Rutgers push that's about to come through any second now. Eugene TP's close to try and get some advantage, gets traded though pretty quickly, and that was the only UMD defender that was actually on site. So now Jinho gets smoked off in Heaven. UMD regroups towards CT. And this is a 3v3. This is certainly doable, especially now that those Omen smokes have dissipated. And Jinho's going to peek out, but Yex and Jinho get taken down on the double swing. And look at that Omen coming out with a 4K.
UMD does have a very slow start to this match. They got to find some kind of footing in here. They did have a numbers advantage at one point in the round, I believe. Or maybe not, I think it was just a 4v4. But even still, they gotta find something that works here, because if they start losing a lot of these rounds, it's gonna not really give them a best half to start with. But these marshals might be very, very beneficial. So just holding C along, a lot of shots coming out already.
And the marshals are doing a great job at holding C long, so great of a job that it's actually going to be a rotate through mid. UMD does not have anybody placed mid or B, so Rutgers is not going to spot any defenders that way. Instead, looks like they're leaning more towards A short, where they're going to be met up with Yex any moment now. Yex hasn't spawned anybody, but that will change shortly as he swings out from short and is now forced to double back behind boxes, most likely, or maybe into Hell. And he does get taken down right behind boxes on his way to Hell. And ultimate comes through for UMD Spartacus, hoping to do a little bit of damage, and it's able to just do a little bit, but nothing too major other than just delaying the plant a little bit longer. Great shot from Eugene. From heaven, Spartacus also comes through with the Guardian shot, gonna take more space and entry down into hell. But Eugene and Spartacus both get taken down simultaneously, and another great round for that Omen on the side of Rutgers.
I think Spartacus just had to hit that shot on the Omen because that would have given them so much advantage. But the Omen was blind, still able to kill Spartacus there. Really unlucky, but UMD does have a bye round here. Maybe they could try to switch up the momentum and push for a win this round. Rutgers only has one ult with the Omen ult, and they are very spread out. Well, I take that back. They are gonna put 3 towards C with Spike.
And they haven't been able to gain any real estate from C yet. Eugene is doing a really good job at holding down C long, and they've been forced to rotate every round that they've really tried to go on C, or almost every round. Yex holding a really dangerous close angle, gonna initiate his dash just in case. Finds the first pick on the ISO, is looking for the second, finds the second, smokes, dashes back into safety to find the third. Great work from Yex, but he is not done. He's still peeking out, just looking for that last remaining Cypher. Not gonna find it though, because look at this positioning. The Cypher has found their way onto A site, just under the noses of UMD through spawn. They do not have spike control, so their positioning is not going to lend them too much of an advantage other than a surprise factor for UMD, but they have really good eyes on this bomb.
I think they are well aware of the Cypher that's creeping up. And Spartacus does know it and is able to take out Cypher. Man, we just have the dream duo with Spartacus and Yex holding A long. Just beautiful gunplay from both of them there.
Yeah, look at this replay for Yex. Huge. He finds the first pick despite that ISO shield, which is a huge deal. Gets blinded, but Spartacus has his back right behind him, and that's what really made that play work.
They might look to try again the same thing they did last round. But Rutgers is going to be very aggressive with taking A lobby. And this might be really bad for UMD. The Omen inside of heaven.
Yeah, the Omen capitalizes off of that breach ultimate, and it puts UMD at just a bad position because any angle advantage they may have had going into that, the breach ultimate just throws all that right out the window. And now with Eugene's location revealed, it's going to be really difficult even with a Phantom to pull this off.
It is a 1v4 here, so Eugene might try to save this or even just play exits. Looks like 2 players from Rutgers are already going to try to spread out and go find him and maybe take that gun away from him.
Yeah, he's just kind of hoping somebody swings into him, but this round is not going to go in favor for the Terps. That's going to push Rutgers at 5 attacking round wins. And granted, this is not UMD's side pick, but it is their map pick, and they tend to be more confident on the attack, but you just hate to see them lose this many defensive rounds on map number 3.
Very close call that in the last 2 seconds of the round, Eugene taking a bit of damage from the ISO. UMD should be getting some ults pretty soon. Most of them are relatively close, within 2 points. Yex does pop his ult.
Ooh, this could be dangerous. He peeks out, finds the pick on the ISO, looking for the second, cannot quite find it. Only 1 knife remaining. Jinho and Spartacus, though, making so many issues for Rutgers A long, as they're just able to take a duo on every single gunfight, and it's Flaps who's going to clean things up in mid. What a dominant round for UMD. That's exactly what they need, because they've really been lacking a round win that clean, that fast, and with such great teamwork.
Yeah, I think the fact that Yex just was really aggressive in sewers kind of put a stop to Rutgers. I think they were going to try to maybe be aggressive and take a lobby, but Yex put a stop to that, and then the rest of the team cleaned everything up, which is exactly what you need for Flawless, just to get back some momentum and get rid of a lot of Rutgers' money that they've saved up over the last couple rounds.
Eugene once again sticking to his trusted C long hold. This time Flaps gets pulled into the ISO ultimate, though. He comes out on the other end of it alive, which is a huge deal for UMD. And Eugene is just doing such a good job at holding down this C site with his smokes. He's really just denied entryway for Rutgers every single round they've attempted to take it. It's going to force them to look towards mid and B.
And Yex is already posted up in B with an operator. Rutgers is maybe looking to go A here with the Cypher lurking.
Tripwire destroyed.
But Flaps is definitely aware that there is somebody garage. Now, in Spartacus, maybe going to be met with...
Camera taken out.
Maybe not.
Yeah, it looks like Spart and Jinho just decided to go short, but that's the wrong play. And it's just unlucky because the rest of the Rutgers attack is actually going to be coming from long, which is not where they decided to duo push. Instead, they're going to be forced to fight this site from a short. Spart's able to get the first pick off of that bomb being defused, and Jinho has his back on the other side. Only 12 seconds left for Rutgers to get this bomb down, and they're not in a great position to do so, especially as Yex finds that pick. It's going to be a save from Rutgers. And finally, UMD seems to be like they're creeping back into this thing at a scoreline that's the closest that we've seen this whole map.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get to like a 6-5 or even, 6-6 or even a 7-5 at half, they're sitting relatively well going into the second half, because that is their comfort side. And we do have a timeout coming in from Rutgers. And I think it's really crucial here, because now UMD is starting to build up momentum. But the coach, NJV, definitely has something to say about that.
Yeah, this is a timeout from Rutgers, because I think they started to sense the momentum was coming from the side of UMD. We've had a couple of pretty decisive round wins recently, and just better teamwork in general. We looked kind of lost in the first couple of rounds, but now just everything seems to be falling into place. Rutgers does not want to let this thing get out of hand too quickly, because in the third map, there's really no room for error. You really cannot let things get out of control too fast. So that's where Rutgers is probably coming from. UMD's just got to be thinking, okay, what's been working? What can we keep doing that's been working?
Yeah, I think they also have to be thinking about what is Rutgers going to try to do to combat what has been working. And Eugene does buy an Odin. This is the first Odin. I wonder if he's going to stick with it, because last time we did see him buy the Odin, he sold it immediately and purchased a Vandal.
Some mid presence from Rutgers, but UMD just really hasn't been contesting mid too much at all. And Flaps, a great pick to really just hold down Garage and Window there for that matter. So it's going to push Rutgers to try and make way onto B site. Again, UMD really has not been placing anybody there. And they're going to have to rely on this retake from both sides. And granted, B is, I would say, the easiest site to retake for defense. That's probably why they're not placing too many people there initially in the round start. But Rutgers just quietly and slowly but surely making way onto the site. But it doesn't look like they're planning on planting there. They're actually going to wrap around towards C potentially. But that is a mistake, as Flaps is just waiting there, able to find a collab on two of them.
And that is Spike right outside of B.
Last player standing.
And finally, Flaps gets taken down. Ultimate comes through for the side of Rutgers. A bit of a panic ultimate because look, there's 4 UMD players still alive. Granted, he does have spike control, but he's going to have to get through a lot of people. And UMD just continues with their momentum. I actually do like that play a lot from UMD, not holding B site. But what a mistake from Rutgers to not just sit and plant there, because they had full site control, but they decided to push right into Flaps. Probably they didn't know his positioning there at all, but B still was heavily defended.
And it was a little bit unlucky on the side of Rutgers because Flaps could just barely see the gun. And he knew that at least one of them was there and was able to get both. Just from a simple spray. And Yex just trying to look for the dart.
And Yex does have an operator. Looks like he's looking short with it, but Spart is the one who's getting the job done out in the A long so far. But Yex won an off angle there. Able to make a stop up in short. Jinho and Spart working together. The power of friendship and a couple blinds to make just a beautiful round win for the Terps.
Yeah, their A defense so far has looked phenomenal. I mean, Yex with the op holding short, but really it's where A long, or just the defense on A long. That's what shines, because Spartacus and Jinho ability spamming beyond like belief. I mean, you have every ability coming from the breach, and then all the Sova darts and everything just causing so much chaos. And I think that it did work out in UMB's favor that the Recon was able to scan at least 1 or 2 to understand, like, okay, we know roughly where the other players are, and Rutgers trying to get it right into B. Jinho is able to take down the Omen while doing so much damage to the ISO.
And yet again, Rutgers does not look like they want to play at B at all. Instead, they want to pull off this rotate towards C, but yet again, it doesn't work out for them for a second time. And now it's all left to this Cypher. Flaps is about to have a fight with him, but Flaps does get taken down. It's going to be this Cypher running back towards B side, where he's going to be met with Yex's operator. And finally, UMB looking just so much more comfortable, looking so much more confident. Look at the run they've had. Just so many rounds in a row. And that's got to be good for their economy. That's going to be good for their just momentum heading into the last round of the half.
Yeah, they definitely have some pretty decent ults to work with here. But Eugene with this Odin getting 2 off of a spray, and then Flaps just cleaning up there.
Hit them fast, hit them hard. Revealing area.
It's like a mid to A, or mostly mid, execute from Rutgers. They're going to use their breach ultimate to try and just stun anybody left on the site, but it's not going to stun Flaps. He's in a great position to kill 2,
It gets 3! What?
Oh,
what
wow.
amazing shots by Flaps. That puts so much damage onto Rutgers.
I know it's
just one more. They need to get this last Cypher.
Yeah.
They do have Spike, though.
They do have Spike. Great work from Flaps, but the job is not over. Jinho knows that. He's going to invest a whole ultimate, but this is the last round, so you might as well use all those ultimates. And hey, that's going to put the fight in your favor. It puts the fight in your favor. And just UMT has turned things around a complete 180 from the first couple rounds of this game.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to have happen on defense, because defense is not the most optimal side for this map, but Flaps just being super aggressive, really confident in just combating Sipe all by himself.
And let's see how UMD is able to handle this attack. You can tell they just have so much confidence right now, as you can see in the studio. A lot of them just smiling, just, you know, super hype that they've been able to make this map turn around so much in their favor. So will they be able to carry that same energy onto their attack? And that's kind of what all attack is about. It's just being confident and playing together as a team. Looks like they're going to start things off by heading on to C site. Gek's gonna updraft, dash in around his smoke. Cannot quite find that pick. CT. Trade does come through though, thanks to Spartacus.
And Flaps maybe trying to wait and spawn for any potential lurkers. Try to wrap around through Garage or spread some support from C Long.
Oh, what a dart from that Sova. And look at this retake from Rutgers. Wow, that is just the name of the game for Rutgers. We saw it on the past 2 maps. Their retakes are just so deadly.
Got it. We're clear.
Yeah, really well placed start from the Sova to kill 2 of the Terps.
What do we learn by fighting ourselves? Thinking out
So
loud.
yet again, on attack, the question for UMD is not going to be whether they can get onto site and get that bomb going. It's going to be, can they stop the retake? That's what was killing them on Sunset, and that's what cannot kill them here on Haven, because we are in the last half of this whole series.
And Yex opting in to buy a Bucky. It's not something you typically see from him, but this is really interesting to see.
Scanning ahead.
Very aggressive into Garage.
Again, with that Cypher trip being shot, all the alarm bells are going to sound for Rutgers that there is a lot of Garage presence. UMD doubling back a little bit. Just kind of waiting for a swing out, it looks like. And Jinho's going to get that swing out. 2 of them going to swing out in his way. Almost finds a pick on both of them. Just kind of still trying to fight that. Against a Guardian, it could be quite hard.
Last player
And a lot of mid presence coming through for the Terps, and it pays off. All they have to worry about is this one singular flank. And I believe UMD should be pretty aware of that positioning because Jinho did have a fight with him earlier.
Spike planted.
Yeah, they are planning accordingly. They do have full control over CT, so they just got to make sure they hit one of these shots and not give away their lives.
Oh, no.
Timing on Spartacus.
A fine death.
And this is suddenly looking kind of scary for UMD. It looks like Jinho and Yex gonna play this as safe as they can. Just do a classic high-low, wait for that swing to come through. And it's old reliable for a reason. It's really hard to lose when you're in a high-low like that. So great job for UMD taking on the first defense or attack round for themselves.
Yeah, especially on a buy, or sorry, save round. That's exactly what you want because now you've turned things around.
Yeah, exactly, because look at their economy. The economy has done a complete 180. They have just all their, for the most part, ideal weapons in hand against Sheriffs. So this should be another round that UMD finds success in just based on economy alone. But in practice, it can always be a different story.
You should have a relatively easy time taking C-Site because there is no Cypher utility.
Oh, and
just barely misses the shots.
Yeah, Yex just got eyes on him, but was not able to finish the job, but did a lot of damage, which was going to be important later in the round.
Spartacus able to take down one. Yex does another. And Rutgers players just falling.
Yeah, only 2 of them left. 1 in CTU, 1 looking Garage. UMD is pretty aware of this positioning. Eugene gonna get the job done around CT. The question is, can Flaps do it in Garage? And he does exactly that, pushing UMD at 9 round wins.
Yeah, I think in save rounds, especially on the Rutgers side, it's really important to make note of where that Cypher is. Because so far, we've seen that Cypher do some real damage with his Sheriff.
And because UMD won that round, they're able to buy up yet again, but this time it's going to be met with a Rutgers buy for the most part. But what UMD does not have is ultimates. Gotta be conscious of that ISO ultimate and Sova ultimate in post-plant scenarios. Both of those could be round defining.
But Yex able to take out the ISO, which is huge because that gets rid of one ultimate on the side of Rutgers. And Spartacus does get his ultimate after getting ult orb.
UMD's doubled back a little bit, gonna regroup before they decide where to hit. They got their pick. They're just trying to not, you know, overcommit. Just try to group together. Looks like they want to go through C long, where this Omen has been pretty patient. Backside probably going to throw a smoke there, like we saw Eugene do, and it worked out in his favor many, many times. The question is, will the Terps push through this? They're going to use a lot of their utility to push through this thing fast. Ultimate comes through for Spartacus. Or for the Rutgers Sova, rather. And now UMD just in an okay position. 3v2. They're going to have spike control, but I really like Flaps' positioning here. Oh, Rutgers just has no idea. And what a clutch from Flaps. That was a little bit scary if Flaps got killed there, but no, he has trust in his aim and could have been more passive, but no, when, you know, you're that good, you can just push and have confidence.
Yes, this should. Yeah, the most crucial part was the fact that the players on site were able to kill the Cypher and just get a little damage on the Sova to make the 1v1 between Flaps and the Sova just a lot more favorable. And now that sends Rutgers into another save.
Scanning ahead.
And this time the Terps looking at a site, and it's not being contested by Rutgers by any aggression at all. They're able to take a lot of space A long.
Right,
they're going to have to work through 2 trips and a cam. But other than that, it doesn't look like there's a lot of aggression on the other side, and they do have the gun advantage. Going to use a Jinho's stun to try and just push people out of positioning, but Yex gets shot through that smoke, and it's just a massacre in this entryway. Spartacus is the only one who's able to find a kill, and a Thrifty comes through for Rutgers. What a plot twist.
Yeah, I mean, just having those Cypher trips at the beginning or at the choke for a site just puts so much disadvantage for UMD because they had so many angles that they could peek off those Cypher trips, especially the smoke that blocked any vision for UMD. It just didn't really look good from the beginning.
And UMD has built up enough economy insurance to not, you know, be in a place where they need to save, but they're getting kind of close. So this is an important round for them to win. They're going to go for this A hit once more to see if it works out a little bit better this time. Rutgers just looking a bit more aggressive on the other side of things. UMD going to have a breach ultimate to help them out. Going to clear sight. ISO ultimate comes through. I do believe it caught a Terp.
Spike planted.
And yeah, Spartacus not coming out of that ultimate alive, but Spike gets taken for UMD. Jinho holding it down Heaven, gonna peek out in CT, but he does get picked off. It's only Eugene left, who's trapped behind his own smoke, and as soon as it dissipates, he gets shot.
Yeah, that ISO ult was really crucial in just taking one more player off of the site to allow for Rutgers to just flood in and contest site. And just a bonus on that, ISO was able to get the kill on a Spartacus. And I mean, Spartacus, he's been doing very well this game, so getting Spartacus out of the round is a huge plus because he's 21-12.
Yeah, exactly. Such a key player to get down if you're Rutgers, especially late in the rounds, because that Sova utility is so important for post plant. So this time, a lot of noise being made through C. It's not really being backed by any space being taken for the Terps. Instead, gonna double back towards mid, where Flaps has gained a little bit of ground but hasn't fully worked his way past this trip to get onto B site.
Shadows traveling.
This Omen on a very, very weird off angle. And he's gonna be really careful about this, but Spartacus does spot the Omen, and now Yex might try to look for space down A long or or sewers, or maybe even just back off.
Right here.
Now it looks like everyone for the Terps is still grouped together in mid, and they looks like they're looking towards B, gonna throw down a bit of utility. Dex is gonna updraft dash, pull out his knives actually, but no, not able to capitalize off of those knives. Bomb not down for UMD. It's just a brawl right now into B, and just so much aggression from Garage as well. The Breach is able to find 2 there. Flaps finally puts a stop to things, but cannot do so for long.
And the Breach netting a 3K there for that round, which puts the Terps into a save round.
Yeah, and the Terps got a save for the first time in a little bit because Rutgers have just creeped back up into this. They're only 1 round win away from tying things at 10-10, which, especially when we're in the 3rd map, we start to think about the possibility of overtime. You know, it can be quite nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I feel like UMD might invest in a timeout if they do lose this round to stop any momentum from gaining from Rutgers, because they've already built up a good bit of momentum just winning the last 3 rounds.
Flaps looks like he's trying to take just some mid control. There is a trip in his way, but UMD just kind of defaulting for the most part, with the exception of Flaps being aggressive. Other than that, really spread out across the map, just trying to, you know, find where Rutgers is playing, find a pick, work off of that as it appears.
And Spartacus, the only one with a real gun in this round, and is able to take out the Sova. That is huge because this gives the Terps so much more breathing room to work, just so much more room to work with, and it sends the alarm bells off for Rutgers because now they're planning.
And finally, UMD gets that plant down, but it's met with a Breach ultimate for the side of Rutgers, and the Breach is going to go in fast off of that, but they do get taken down by Spartacus. Down to a 3v3 retake scenario. UMD does not have great control of sight, and Yex is just getting run down by that ISO. Jinho forced to respond, but cannot do so. The ISO is at 4 kills, looking for the ace, not going to quite get the ace, but it doesn't even matter because Rutgers found a super important round win, pushing things at 10-10, and UMD, granted, they were on a save, but now they've really got to lock in and start getting these next couple of rounds.
Yeah, I feel like they might end up calling a timeout here to just kind of rethink things, because now this is their bye round, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe no timeout.
I'm actually surprised we're not seeing a timeout, but hey, maybe just Kazu has or NJV has a lot of just faith in his team, you know, just in the IGL, which is Spartacus, and just to work out this crucial round just in terms of economy, because if you lose this round, then the next couple ones you're just kind of scraping together a bye, which is not where you want to be as things start to near the late stage of the game.
Nowhere to run! I am the hunter!
Sova ultimate nets a kill for the side of Rutgers, but it is going to be an A execute for the Terps for the most part, but Flaps has gotta clear this corner. He cleared it, but just could not find that pick, couldn't get his crosshair in the right place at the right time. But on the other side of the map on A, Terps able to get this plant down and play a bit of a passive retake, just trying to hold angles. Yex finally swings out, finds a pick. I think he gets roped into this ISO ultimate, forced in a 1v1, cannot come out on the other side of it alive, and that just leaves Eugene, who gets shot into hell. And that is not the round you want to see UMD lose.
Not this time.
I wonder what that is.
Yeah.
Sorry, in the studio it's like a weird ringing noise. Okay, I think it's gone. That's a little weird. Anyway.
Yeah, it kind of confused me for a second.
But hey, there's no room for distractions here because we are really nearing this crucial last couple of rounds of the series. And actually, the suspense will build because we are in a timeout. I'm not sure if UMD called it, but probably.
I would assume it would be UMD. I think they're trying to do some sort of half buy if I saw correctly, even just for a split second. I think I saw like a couple of Guardians maybe trying to equalize and pull back and maybe put this thing to 11-11 and not let Rutgers get to that match point.
Yeah, so it is a Maryland timeout confirmed, and yeah, they really just gotta play this next round super wisely, because if they lose this round, that's gonna put Rutgers at match point, and that's series point, and that's never the position you want to be in, because at that point your only hope is overtime. So winning this round is really UMD's kind of last effort at not getting into overtime.
Yeah, I think even with UMD planning A, they have to be really careful about the retake, because Rutgers retakes are really good on A, especially with how much like wall piercing abilities they have with ISO, Omen, and Breach, coupled with the Sova dart that they can throw anywhere on site. Their retakes are almost unmatched with the kinds of abilities they have.
And UMB starting things off pretty passively. Flaps just doing his thing like he's done every round, peeking up out of, or into B rather, just kind of waiting for a swing to come his way. He hasn't been super aggressive, just kind of pushing up but not overstepping his boundary. And he has that cage if he needs to double back to safety, but it looks like UMB is mostly in A short. Got two that are going to meet up with Spartacus and Yex onto A site, and Yex does take down the Cypher. That is huge for the Terps, as they're going to be able to get this plant down and hopefully this time stop Rutgers on the retake, which is what's been the issue for them in these last couple rounds, especially on A site.
Yeah, I think they're playing very smart here not to put so many players towards Graffiti and on site, and Yex able to pick off one.
And it's going to have to be something huge from Jinho here. He gets one, but gets traded down to a 1v1 with Eugene. He's just going to sit in the smoke. He's got to peek out eventually and cannot quite come out on the other side of that one. It's going to put Rutgers at series point.
Match point.
And with whatever money UMD has left, they got to muster up some sort of buy here. They are going to go for mostly rifles.
Oh, that was such an important round. You hate to see it being lost by such a close margin. But here we are at series point. Crucial round for UMD. How will they decide to play it is the question. Looks like mostly C and Garage for now.
Yeah, I think they're going to mainly focus on their weapons, and not such a great cam from Flaps there.
Some Garage presence being shown, but they're leaving Spike and Spawn, which I actually like, just in case somebody dies. Flaps gets traded, but Yex responds through Garage, and he's going to push up using his smoke and a dash. They've got to take care of this Omen that's back sight, but they've done just that and a great job at that. And now all they have to worry about is this Sova, who's sitting CT. And HP not great on the UMD side, so they really just want to play this one as securely as possible, especially with that shock dart finding a kill. And uh-oh, things are a little scary. Both of our UMD players, Spartacus and Eugene, are very low in HP, and they're out of shock darts on the other side, but they still do have that drone to get information. This is so scary.
We might get wallbanged here.
TP comes through, but no one's peeking it. Spartacus comes in huge, and a massive sigh of relief for the Terps, but not out of the woods yet. This is another must-win round for UMD if they want to send this into overtime.
Yeah, that was a very, I was on the edge of my seat with Spartacus running back towards box. I could have sworn that the other Sova might have saw him and maybe shot. And I mean, if he only shot one and it landed, that would have been a 1v1 in favor of the Sova.
Get out of my way.
It was a very close call, and UMD looking to storm through C long.
I like this C push because it's undefended by Rutgers. Flaps does get traded through mid, but this is looking super reminiscent of the previous round. It's completely undefended right now. Sub ultimate comes through for the side of Rutgers, just trying to do some damage. It will do a little bit on Spartacus, but not gonna net a kill. Oh, and Yak's just playing super close with a judge and gonna pull out his knives actually and peek through Garage. Breach ultimate is invested for the side of the Terps. You want to invest everything you can into this round. Trade comes through. And now we are down to a 2v3 post plant.
Here.
And make that a 2v2 thanks to Eugene. Now UMD is just going to have to play this
Very
wisely. Oh, great job. Great job from the Terps, Eugene and Spartacus, in order to just win that must-win round. And now we are headed into overtime on the third map of this series. We have a very close game on our hands.
Yeah, we love to see it. I mean, these games always get so tense and has everyone on their seats. Like, I'm over here, I'm like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah, that round was a nail-biter for sure. And now this is certainly just a sigh of relief from UMD, because while the overtime is super important, they're no longer just in a, oh my gosh, we have to win this next round situation. Obviously, you want to do that in overtime, but just so they can just kind of take a minute here, breathe, think about how they want to work their defense. And things have looked pretty even from them on attack and defense. I would say their defense was a little bit better. And Rutgers on the attack side going to start things off super aggressively. Spartacus and Yex and Jinho, the three of them are together on A site or left to defend it.
It doesn't look like Rutgers is going to back off at all, given with how much utility has been put up.
Over there.
We're going to send utility towards A site, and of course Jinho out of position. He's still able to find a pick though. UMD in a slight numbers down disadvantage, but not for long as Spartacus response does get traded on the other side of it though, all up to Eugene in a 1v3. He's hiding in the enemy Omen smoke. And they are really aware of his positioning here. He just doesn't have much time to hide left. And the first round of overtime will go in favor of Rutgers. And now UMD has got to win their next attack side.
Yeah, I think UMD might opt to go C on this one. They've had a lot more luck on like mid and C. Anytime they go A, they're just met with a very, very aggressive retake. And most of the time it doesn't work out that well. So I think Rutgers is going to maybe try to take the passing into consideration and put a lot towards C.
That does look like they're 3-stacking C, but UMD not really grouping up there, more so doing a default. Sending utility C though to maybe draw in some rotates, but it's actually going to be Garage in mid. That's going to cause issues for Rutgers if they're not aware of it soon. Trades do come through, but UMD ultimately still numbers down in a 2v3. Yex in the ISO ultimate. This is a must-win fight for Yex. And he's not quite able to do it. It's just Flaps left. UMD's last hope. Gets 1 kill, but he has 2 more to go. He does have Spike, but he's going to have to pull off something crazy here. Pushes through his own cage. Will the breach expect it is the question. Continue pushing up, but no, it's going to be the window. That's just going to cause so many issues for Flaps, and UMD cannot come away with this one as a win. But man, they did put up a fight. Both teams did put up a great fight on both sides. Great game we had to watch tonight.
Yeah, I mean, even the fact that we got to overtime and UMD was able to come back after a little bit of a losing streak and bring it to overtime is just a testament to how well the mental is.
Yeah, so you hate to see the Terps lose that one, but at least they put up a really good fight. It was a great game to watch. We hope you all have enjoyed watching it as much as we have. And, you know, thanks for joining us on our irregular Tuesday.
Yeah, especially
Valorant
for a
stream.
late night too.
Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week for some more Valorant.